Come on, map intro. Alright, we're going to be spawning over here in game number 1 of the grand finals for season number 3 of Copa America, on top of the blue Zerg player representing Solar.
Jonsnow. Rex.
Well,
Okay.
just kick Rifkin out of the call.
I don't know who's host of this. That may be on you.
I am actually a host, so goodbye, Rifkin. Oh, JK. But you have to introduce this player, so.
Well, spawning in not the top right, not the bottom left of the
ZG
map.
suck.
Nailed
Yeah.
I was going to wait a little bit longer before I did that.
You have no idea how long Rifkin's intros are gonna be. It could be like, blank, 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 comma, blank, 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 comma, blank, 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 comma.
I sometimes try to draw them out really far, and sometimes it's just like, yo, it's this guy, Hike, what's up?
The Canadian from Canada, the man himself.
Used to be Canadian, now lives
Technically
in America. Yo,
Once
we
ate a Rice Krispie treat.
No, seriously, you could do like those Game of Thrones intros that Huck was tweeting about a while ago, like,
Oh my god.
the American player, betrayer of Canada, evil geniuses, like very own. Blah,
Oh yeah,
blah.
he made like 8 of them for like a bunch of different players.
Yeah, I wish he would have done more. I would totally stolen those and used those for intros. But okay, so let's talk a point here. One of the things we know Huck best for, before we get into anything about aggression or gateways, is he's really freaking good at hiding probes. And I don't know how or why this became a thing, but he is the only Zerg player, or sorry, rather the only Protoss player where Zerg players struggle to find pylons. Like, yeah, sometimes there's those one-off games and a pylon gets hidden on the left side of, like, say, Overgrowth. But Huck is the man with a plan, and ever since, like, I started noticing this back on, like, the days of Frost, like, he really dedicates to having that one extra pylon, because what Huck's strengths excel at is not the brute force of an A move through, like, a 4-gate, but it's through the counterattacks behind it, through those 3 zealots warped in while engagement goes down in the middle of the map, things like that. So I'm really excited to see how he uses the massiveness that is Deadwing for that, I guess, tactic.
Well, we have Jonsnow going for something very greedy. 3 hatch for 4 pool could be a little dangerous. There's always a possibility that, he does get a forge. I'd say Deadwing is probably one of the, I don't know. I'd say I'd see more gateway expand on this map than anything else.
This is, I mean, against like a 3 hatch before pull though, I feel like once Huck actually gets a vision of it, which actually at this rate may be a while, because he's only just now sending out that scout. Oh my god, this is actually a super late scout.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, you could take like a 6-minute third, and based on the pylon that he's planting at the third, I feel like that might actually be the case.
Yeah, it looks like it. So some greed for greed. He should be canceling this zealot. If he's really gonna be very greedy.
No,
well,
he goes for the poke,
yeah.
right?
Well, yeah, you could. I just, if he was gonna go for the very early greed, like want to go full on, because while the zealot can technically do something to an opponent, if they did go for, say, a 3 hatch 4 pool, it doesn't do a whole lot. It forces out like a couple of lings, but I was actually wondering if Huck was going to do what he's doing right now, which is this actually put gateways up before the 3rd nexus. It's going to be 4 gateway attack. Now this is very easily scouted, but it's almost not at the same time. Like if one ling could get up here and see, okay, 3 gateways, but one ling will not get over here. The Zerg players just stop trying.
Can we actually talk about how this is really weird, considering Huck's that guy who always does the really horrible wall on Deadwing specifically at that 3rd?
Oh yeah, he does the horizontal wall. The diagonal regular.
Yeah, and he always does like the cannon rather than like a full wall off as the priority. But
oh my god,
this ninja probe! I'm not
What?
kidding. Look
What?
at this.
No,
Are you
telling
kidding
you guys?
me?
I don't know what it is. Protoss Zerg players, like Terran players, like they go all sorts of dumb when it comes to catching probes out of Huck. So Huck's probe actually.
Oh no, the queen
queued
from
up
Huck.
to
And Huck is going for such a oh man, this is like the most infuriating build. So it's not just like a regular 4 gate where it's like supposed to apply a little bit of pressure. This is like a really fast 4 gate that you can just be quite like, you could die dude, you're surprised.
I think it's good. I mean, he's already lost the queen. This really sucks. Although it's being brought to the front lines instead of being rallied to the back of the base. I mean, like 2 lings are on the other side of the map seeing Chrono Boost go down, and they're like, oh crap. Like we're in the wrong place right now. Sportcaller finishes up, does snipe the queens, but The mothership core wasn't really like it wasn't such a big deal to the build. Let's not forget about this pylon. Yeah, warps the 2 zealots to the main, starts shredding the drones over here. Jonsnow's got to be like, how did those get by? What the hell?
Oh my god, this was actually so unfortunate. Jonsnow saw the probe actually, and he actually was sending a queen up to that location, but then the zealot, it was on an attack move up there. So the queen started chasing the zealot.
Well, that, and he had to bring the queen to that 3rd base. He couldn't actually go check that out. But 3rd base is going to die. This is an attack that snowballs pretty quickly. Huck's executed this very well. Looks like the main base actually has it revealed at this point. Was that a drone pull on top of that, or lings? Finally, the main is going to go down here in a moment's time. But I kind of feel like as long as this 3rd dies, damage is dealt more than adequate.
Focusing it. He knows that there's at least 1 transfuse on there, so maybe he's just going to try... I really feel like he can, though, even with the transfuse, where the roaches are out. He warped in 4 more zealots to try and make this happen.
Side swipe.
He has another transfuse available. He's going to throw it down. Only 2 zealots.
Roaches. Without speed, kiting zealots is like it's doable, but it's not fun or easy.
Right now, it doesn't matter. If Huck doesn't get this 3rd, I feel like he wasted so much potential.
37 health.
He's still bringing 1 stalker. That stalker is going to kite its bestest.
Oh, did Jonsnow see the stalker? Okay.
No.
Oh,
the roaches.
No. 2 hits.
But there's 2 transfuses. There's 3 transfuses. If this dies, I'm
okay,
very sad.
All right then. Okay, so the stalker's gonna try and like scout, I guess.
Right, but let's take a second to evaluate what's going on here, because well, Huck, okay, he killed a lot. Like, I mean, the drone count's down to 28. Are you kidding me? 28 drones for 3 bases? That's not gonna cut it. But beyond this, Huck took his own 3rd, right?
Yeah,
so it's not even like he's screwed out of the game.
So it's not that he killed a lot. He only killed 4 drones, well maybe 5 here. Oh, stalker, please. It's that he just stopped Jonsnow from droning a lot. Jonsnow, like if he knew this was coming, he probably does like the perfect response and has good drones. As being panicked as he was, yeah, he wasn't droning this entire time. And in any other map, you could counterattack and maybe deal some damage, but on this map with the wall up already,
I think he can though. Destructible rocks, right? Like
there's force fields.
There's force fields, and he's getting the pylon down. This will actually finish the cannon before the rocks die, and that's all he's really looking at here. Plus the mothership core. So I was gonna start talking about that weakness not being that big of a problem. It looks a little bit scary at first to see those destructible rocks, but as we see, it's not really an issue. And Jonsnow, I mean, he's kind of floundering. Neither player really has upgrades going for them, but Huck has his on the way.
Yeah. Well, you know, one good thing about that attack was that the queen surprisingly did all live. So the larva production is still there. It's just he's such on a low dro count, and I mean the Hydra's dead. Getting Ling Hydra, because can he really afford Roach Hydra? I don't know.
Not right now, I think.
Yeah, I think he's afraid of like a follow-up attack because he has no idea what Huck is doing. He does have overloads in position that he could easily turn into Overseers as the layer is done, to see like, okay, do you have Immortals behind this that you're getting up, or what? And you would love to see this Twilight Council in the robotic facility.
Yeah,
I still can't get over that probe, man. Like I tell you guys, seriously, watch any game with Huck. It's such a subtle thing, but if you actually look for his probes, even as an observer, it's really hard to catch.
He's actually like been amazing at it since even the beta. Like his probe control has always been absurdly good. He used to actually go and harass with 2 probes and like murder each other. His opponent's probes. Oh no. Bombs!
Man, it's always bombs.
But
yo, it's like Huck's got that stupid thing from Harry Potter, that cloak, right? Just drapes it on the probe.
A cloak of invisibility.
Yeah.
Game paused.
It's serious, yo.
All right. Well, bombs.
It's first place. I mean, seriously, yo. Every game, every latency. I mean,
yeah.
What is this? There's like $1,000 prize pool for each season. I don't know what first place is off the top of my head, but still, it's a lot of money.
Yeah, it's an extra $200 between first place and second place. It's $500 for first, $300 for second.
Yeah.
Well,
pretty big deal.
So Jonsnow, he got up to 56 drones, which wouldn't be bad if it didn't open up like this, right? Like, so he should probably continue droning. He sees that the army, I think he saw the army. I think he did. Really not that big. Saw the Twilight Council, saw the robo. I imagine he saw the Twilight Council spinning as well.
No. Huck's going for a 4th?
This is fine though. If this was any other map, you'd be like, yeah, no, don't do this. It's stupid. You don't have the army to defend it. But it's Deadwing. You could just gateway wall off, and suddenly you've got 1 choke.
I feel like
you could just put a couple cannons down, still 1 choke.
Fear Dragon isn't like saying like, you know, oh my god, this is so dangerous, because it's not. I think he's like, you know, I'm so surprised he's not going to attack. At least that is it's it for me. Like he
yeah.
has two choices,
I
right?
wouldn't
He could
atta- I
either
wouldn't attack. Not
he could
I don't
either
know.
try and attack and like force out more units out, force Jonsnow to delay his own fourth, or he could just be really really greedy. The problem is that by being really greedy, you do give what the hell is happening?
Oh my god,
I know,
there's
you
still
see this
some
lady too?
lag.
Please not me. That's all I'm hoping for.
We're gonna find out eventually.
It might be everyone. Remember that whole like server wide like
Yeah, Battle.net was really bad, but that was that day where like they were getting DDoSed and all that other stuff.
they were? Oh, I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, I don't know who. We don't actually know who's lagging. This is actually really awkward because the only way that I know how to figure this out is to wait for the game like screen lag, like menu to pop up.
It was not Bomb's fault. Yeah, it was, buddy. Just all this shows up is that he's not the only culprit. Like, hey, well, sad to say that we are having a bit of a latency issue, but the pause makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing too is, I think Huck is. I haven't looked at that list. I'm pretty sure he's in the top 8, right? But I think one of the big things too is like a win here kind of guarantees it, even if he's not.
Yeah, he's second.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying is, like, for him, losing this isn't like the difference of not being able to compete in that season finals. You know,
Yeah.
he's still got a chance at the big prize pool, win or lose today. But this determines seeding. This determines placement. This is like, again, that as Fear Dragon pointed out, the difference of $200 as well for one best of 7. It's like an expensive show match.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, a little bit of disagreements going on in the chat. But okay, here's kind of my thoughts because Zomgrave, you were kind of saying like you thought that I was talking about the 4th expansion from Huck being a sign that he's not going to attack. I guess, but I'm almost kind of surprised. I feel like he's already a 3 base Protoss with the kind of tech that he wants against a 3 base Zerg.
Yeah.
I feel like going for the like super fast 4th expansion is almost just like pushing his luck, kind of like he's giving. Yeah, he could get super duper far ahead with it, but I feel like he's also just giving Jonsnow an opportunity of what if he just gets up like, I don't know, really fast Vipers. So he just gets up enough units and gets like one good engagement. He could just honestly take the game, even though he feels kind of further behind right now.
Yeah, that's
okay.
that's what I kind of brought up, like the 4th, because you could also argue that if he does do a 3 base push before he gets a 4th, that there's a chance that Jonsnow was just making units and he'll get demolished. But
Yeah.
So the macro game is almost always going to be safer. But I feel like it's just about being afraid of just like an army in general and being afraid of a swarm host game. You know,
man.
like, well, I could push and hopefully catch him like with like units that I'm okay with, or I can wait and maybe he'll get swarm host on cross position dead wing. So, and that would certainly be a way for Jonsnow to come back. I mean, they're kind of tanks in that way that they can bring you back into games that you were definitely behind in.
Yeah.
Was that the thing you'd asked me to check out, by the way? Sorry, while we're on the stance thing.
I feel like if it was, you would have. Yeah, it is.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty good.
Alright.
Okay, sadly, the Spanish streams appears to be out. But lucky for them, I think every stream is the same overlay interface, so they could probably just restream ours or the Brazilian one, depending on how this goes. But it does seem like the lag has settled at this point.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess we're hypothesizing as to what Huck is doing. He's, but one thing he is doing is constantly scouting. He knows if his opponent has just been getting units and he has a
That's
gigantic
true.
army. And I mean, it's an alright sized army, but with force fields with a choke, Rifkin talked about the force just being super safe. It is. Like, I don't think Santo's going to be able to push in here. He might be looking to go, like, really heavy on Corruptors, to try and, like, almost like YOLO into the Colossus and then hope to win with Hydra.
It's funny because this map, sorry, we've got a small attack going on here, but it's got 2 very different dynamics to it. It can either be the easiest map to get a 4 base on, or it can be one of the most difficult because of the way terrain gets abused here and the rocks in the back. It depends on races as well, siege tanks versus Colossus, etc. So, I mean, right now we look at this and we're kind of laughing like, ha, this is easy 4th, macro game, macro game, macro game. But you just gotta understand, that's like, we actually see this less on Deadwing than more often. Oh, that's a lot of gateways.
Yeah, I think Huck, this is just, the production's going to be very strong on 4 bases, of course. So he needs the extra gateways, but he should be thinking about pushing out eventually. He's not going to just turtle, maybe 180, maybe he does max out before pushing out, but at some point, the question is, like, Jonsnow, is he going to have better tech to deal with this? Is he going to have just try and get like a really big army to deal with this? Like, what is he trying to do? He does get the Corruptors, which are absolutely necessary to deal with Colossus, but I wonder what this invitation put is for. You know,
Well,
usually
I think it might
it's
just be for Hive to get up Vipers, right?
well, it's usually Corruptors or Vipers though.
Mhm.
I mean, that's just like
Yeah.
the usual. Until like the very, very, very late game, like Water is coming to play, right? But no, you're right. The Hive does go up. It's not going to be in time for this push though, or maybe just in time. I'm not sure.
I think it's not going to be in time. Like, he's not going to be able to do anything with the Hive, right, for the push, which is moving across
Yeah.
the map. I think Jonsnow's going to really have to make sure he has a great engagement angle over here. He's set up for a really big concave, but even then, when you start getting force fields involved, this can become super awkward. Oh, I really like what Jonsnow's doing. He's actually moving a couple units like outside of that big kind of ridge where his 4th expansion is. So he can
Yeah.
kind of come
He
in
has
for
to
a
be
flank.
so careful about not just getting his units force-footed out of the engagement though.
Yeah.
But look at this too.
Oh,
We didn't
big,
talk
big
about it.
round.
Yeah, plus 2 weapons doesn't finish yet for this. He's gonna recall.
Okay.
That's what I was gonna say. Huck was probably not gonna dedicate too much to this. Had that plus 3 weapons completed, maybe that's a different story. But you don't really want to go in there when your upgrades are this close to finishing.
That was dangerous though. I mean, if that mothership was the first thing to be targeted down. Well,
Colossus.
anyways. Colossus should live. Yeah, he does live. And again with the chokes, there's Jonsnow. It looks like, yeah, Huck's really afraid of those Corruptors,
Oh.
but
Nice hallucination. So
Wow.
not 1, 2, but 3 volleys from the Corruptors. This means that he didn't have to focus fire with the Stalkers. This is actually kind of a big deal. Oftentimes you'll see the Stalkers waste all their time shooting those Corruptors, but because he mows through the Hives, through the Roaches like nothing at all. Remaxing on Roaches keeps Jonsnow's supply looking all right, but when the supply is Corruptors and Roaches, you're really not that all right.
yeah. The Corruptors could also be chased down, which is also pretty big. I mean, Jonsnow would have had to gotten something lucky there. You know, a good concave, the Blink Stalkers looking out of position to protect the Colossus. Obviously, neither one happened, and now his army is just not very good. The Huck should be winning this game.
Yeah,
I kind of wish he had
Colossus-
Storms.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, that's perfect. But
Well, no, because then it could be Thunderstruck. But like Huck, I could start singing, but
I think again it comes back down like the hallucinations actually added so much more value to those Colossus, right? Just like
Yeah,
keeping them
yeah.
alive for an extra like 15-20 seconds. That does so much more damage to the army.
that was definitely really cool because he didn't want to have to deal with it in any other way. But I think while that was cool and all those other good things happened, a lot of it came down to like, all right, Huck, he still made that work off of the back end of a what is quote unquote failed 4 gates. Like it didn't kill the 3rd as the goal might be intended, but as Zombrigo pointed out very early in that game, like Jonsnow did not get to make many drones. His economy was never in a spot where he was like, 70 workers happy, mining like crazy.
Yeah. I don't know. It's really interesting. I think I just realized I got some messages from Copa admin during the game, but I have my settings set so that I don't actually get messages in game.
Well,
Yeah.
you should. That way you don't stream it. Was it anything important or?
I think it was about the lag and stuff. So
They say you're lagging.
out. No. I think that they were asking if we could like do like a recovery of the game or something so that the Spanish.
We
team
didn't
could
have-
get it, but
We didn't have referee. It was, we wouldn't have been able
Yeah,
to
yeah.
communicate that anyways.
yeah, that's true. Well, regardless, hopefully we'll be able to sort things out for the next game. Hopefully
Yeah,
we'll have any more
merry-go-round,
lag.
map number 2.
Okay, so it's so funny that we're going to merry-go-round now because Deadwing,
Don't know
great
anything,
map
guys.
for expanding on. Merry-go-round, terrible map for expanding on.
yeah, not the best. Easy concave for whatever 3rd you take, and I really like that opening from Huck though. It wasn't the very typical that you would see. I mean, first he had the gateways at the 3rd front, which is definitely very specific to that map, and then Jonsnow was not worried about scouting until like 6:37 minutes,
Right.
and off that attack like at that time. So it was just a good aggressive opener that was just a little out of ordinary. Like if Huck wanted to be aggressive and he did like his old standard 7-8 gates or whatever, I don't know, Jonsnow probably scouts that, but that one is definitely one that you throw in once, I would say, and then you move on to something else.
Yeah, I feel like there's a really just okay. We talked about like okay, Huck does not necessarily just go for all ins anymore. It's kind of like an old old like vision of him. Like people see him as like this all-inner, but I have to say like he still has really really good control and like really good. I mean top 3 control jokes and everything aside. He is a really good 2-base all-inner. So I feel like, you know what, merry-go-round, a lot of players that say, you know what, don't try and just play into it because your opponent will expect the 2-base all-in, right? But if you're Huck, I feel like you can just go for it and probably do really good damage.
I'm guessing that Jonsnow will be pretty on guard now, though. Like maybe even 2 on guard, you know? So he might try and like suicide and overload a lot earlier and then just lose it for no reason because, you know, 1 stalker and Hug macroing. Whoa, yeah, I saw that.
Yo.
Big deal.
Shout out to Minigun, by the way, for that stream host. Thank you very much, brother.
That's nice.
Hey.
I gotta tell you, I'm really loving the stream host feature. We've been using it a lot for like WCS and all these other big things. On one hand, it helps with the viewer numbers slightly. I think honestly, though, our contribution is like a drop in the bucket type thing, but it's made chat a million times more enjoyable for me. Not having to deal with WCS chat and still having like a good like 30 or 40 other people to talk to. Hosting's pretty rad. It's got very little benefits to the person who hosts, but that is one of them, and I will take that most days of the week.
Yeah, I know you have been hosting a ton. Total Biscuit's also been hosting a lot of the other streams. So that there's like, for his own subscribers and everything, there's just like a nice place to chat on streams that have like 40, 50,000 viewers of, I don't know, Power Protoss just being spammed constantly. So kind of nice refuge for a lot of streams in terms of chat. It looks like we should be getting started soon. We're just kind of clearing up the issues on the lag, making sure that we won't have the same issues again, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately for Bombs, I've noticed that he just kind of lags for like 2 seconds, but usually only once. So.
But that's the thing. It's like once every game.
Yeah, it is
right.
pretty annoying.
Like,
It's
I don't know
really
if he's just
odd
tabbing
time,
out
too.
or what. Yeah, like I wonder what if he's got full screen tabbing out or something.
Because if it's at the very beginning, that's actually just some people's computers or the internet or whatever. But like random times in the game, it's yeah, it might just be tapping out or some shit. Anyways.
For people asking, by the way, I am incredibly tired. This is not a towel, but like my blankets. And I was casting at 5 a.m. this morning, but I was awake since like yesterday. So I got a couple hours of sleep between that and Copa America. And, well, I wouldn't miss the finals, guys. Not for anything. Huck versus Jonsnow is best of 7. If you're just joining us, it continues here in a moment. Huck leads the series 1-0. Little man in the corner. I hope I'm looking the right way. I don't know.
No, it's yeah, other way.
Other way, okay.
There we go.
Hey,
yeah.
hey, you! Hey, shut up down there! I'm busy looking places and doing things. But I think we're about ready. So players are saying for the go.
All right, and we should be getting started relatively soon. Guys, you're watching the Copa America Grand Finals. This is for season number 3, and of course $200 on the line between first place and second place, but $500 going to first place and $300 going to second place. We already saw the third, fourth place match between Jim Rising and Hendrillus, and Hendrillus able to take that series pretty gosh darn well with some pretty nice play in that ZVZ, winning himself $200 and a couple extra points for that Copa America Grand Finals. But I think not quite enough to qualify. Actually, that's actually would have been a really interesting thing, is that Hendrillus, if he had been able to make it to the finals and win, I think he actually would have qualified.
Yeah, pretty sure he's 10 right now. So
yeah, he was like 2 points away from qualifying, so winning would give him like an extra 5 points.
At least 4 points away.
Or 4 points, yeah.
Or 3 or something.
Yeah.
Oh, it doesn't matter. He's out though.
That is true. Well, next year maybe. But guys, we're gonna be going into a merry-go-round between Huck and Jonsnow. We'll see you guys in a little bit. Alright guys, we're going to be spawning up here in the top left-hand corner of the map merry-go-round.
Uh-oh.
I don't have production tab on.
I saw that lag. And I was like, oh, we're going to have to remake already. Like,
oh god, I hope not. Because we're spawning up here on top of the blue Zerg player gaming, currently down 0-1. It is Jonsnow.
His opponent, though, over yonder, playing for Evil Geniuses, the Red Protoss, Canadian, American, tournament champion. I'm not gonna drag this on. It's Huck.
Ew. All right, yeah. So, predictions. Just throw it out there. What is Huck's build?
Well, the 4-gate, I see why not. If it's not broken, don't fix it. Type
2
thing.
base Blink Stalker are in.
Oh, I was gonna say +2 weapons, Blink Stalker all in. Yeah, off of 2 base. Same thing. That's I agree with you. I think that's actually really strong.
I actually prefer the 3 base, but if it's a map where it's like difficulty of 3 base, then that kind of defeats the purpose, right? So, all right, John, or rather, Rifkin said 2-gate or 4-gate rather.
Don't just cut my gates in half on me here.
I'm
Come
sorry.
Okay, here's the thing. We saw it last game, and it was kind of weird last game, right? Like, if you think about like how that worked out, he got an in-base proxy pylon, and he managed to do a little bit of damage, but I don't know.
It was just a surprise. I mean, he went 3 hatch before pool. I think that actually hits at a time before like the 3 hatch is really starting to make up for itself, you know? And Jonsnow, like I said before, is just going to be so much more on guard. Like, whether that's a good thing or not, you know, he might defend too much. You know, he might get like a 6-minute Roach Warren. He's like, well, what if Huck does it? And then it's going to be absolutely useless. Or a 5:30 Roach Warren, something absurd.
Yeah.
What he does do is actually do a 1-base gas.
Oh.
And whoa! Huh, interesting
What?
build.
No, I like.
Okay, that was a
Let's
mistake.
say-
I was like, what? I'm gonna get up a fast gas, guys, or delay my natural and get up Overlords.
You know, like, I was
Huck
going to be
sees
paranoid,
this.
but not that paranoid.
Mhm.
Yeah, so a little bummer that it is, he did scout it. Obviously, the best situation is that you don't scout the fact that they're going for quick speed. But even, no, never mind, Huck's going to wall off the natural. Because sometimes, even if they do scout it, they kind of underestimate it, and they think, like, no big deal, and then they don't wall off their natural.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's, like, just really poor planning, and Huck, obviously, not the type to do that, is going to wall off. Wait a minute, that's 2 holes up there.
And importantly, he's also getting like the forge over there, which is something that I think I more often see like Protoss players being really greedy, and they're like, I don't need the forge just yet, and they'll throw down extra gateways to put on that aggression. But yeah, he should be okay over here, especially with the second. Oh, that Zealot was not on the whole position, but with the second Zealot, he should be able to stop them from knocking down the wall.
Yeah, I shouldn't even be really afraid. I mean, even if they got in there, it wouldn't be worth it. Usually, it's a kind of a build that starts the ball rolling, and if it doesn't start rolling, then you do just run up behind it, and that's exactly what he's doing. The Lings did not get in there, so he's not going to make any more. The thing is, you know, it does still give him some perks, despite, you know, the opener being like less than economical, is that he will have speed, so hopefully he'll be able to catch those sneaky Huck probes.
That's actually a really good point. Yeah, as sneaky as Huck is, if you have a bunch of Zerglings with speed out on the map this early, it's really hard to actually get those workers out. And also, you look at Huck, he's actually kind of afraid about this. Like, he's already committed to 2 cannons, which is, off of the gateway expand, you normally don't get any cannons. To get 2 cannons down this early on, like, that's 2 gateways he could have thrown down.
Yeah, it actually looks like he won't be using this forge either, because like I was thinking like, okay, he had to react by putting out that forge, but there still could be things that he could do with it. But yeah, no upgrades going down here, at least not yet. Well, gas guys just finished up in the main, so that's probably why, right?
Yeah, big tail with the scout as well. Huck got to make up that difference here, but I mean, okay, so you mentioned before you're not really sneaking the probes anytime soon, but Huck's also not looking to is the thing. So for now, it's okay. That's to on this
I
pylon.
was super afraid of this. Wow.
Yeah.
I cannot believe how afraid of this he was.
Oh my god, he got a 3rd cannon? Is he?
Whoa.
I feel like at that point he must have felt like
I
there
thought
was
Jonsnow was going to be the one on the super defense, not Huck. Huh.
Yeah. Well, Zealot's not moving out, and when Huck sees this 3rd, I feel like he's gonna be really upset, right? Like, that 3rd is actually relatively well timed, all things considered, with how like Jonsnow kind of opened up this game with like the early speed. And everything.
Yeah.
It was
Finishing up around 7 minutes? Like, yeah.
He threw it down by like 5 minutes or so. That's not actually that late.
These 3 Zealots are more of a pain than they would be, I guess, in another game where the Roach would have been done by now, but you know, enough Lings are going to take care of it, and Huck is still in a position where, I mean, I wasn't paying attention to how delayed his gases were, but they must have been so delayed with the fact that, like, the Semic was already done, he had 0 gas. Like,
Yeah.
God, Huck is actually being so annoying with these Zealots, and I've
Wow.
got to say,
That is the
Wow.
sickest like Borg regeneration closet positioning I've ever seen in my
Dude,
life.
right? That is the sickest analogy.
and
But okay, so those Lings will not be touching the Zealots anytime soon. However, what they might do is scout Huck's third, and I think a big part of him going for that aggression was to distract from this.
yeah.
So the worst thing that could have happened was him actually getting scouted, and this is going to be probably canceled. There's nothing at home to
Yeah,
defend
he
this.
doesn't have. He still doesn't have warp gate, so he's not warping in like those 5 sentries and then abusing the force field. It's like, yeah, that's gonna be canceled. Oh.
There's actually like no units for Huck right now, besides like
Right?
1 sentry in the mothership core.
It's pretty bad. He definitely did not open up the way that he was planning to. He seemed to just, have messed up any build order that would have recovered off of the reaction. And I mean, and now it's back down to like, he didn't get the third super early like you could on a map that has a problematic third. And he's not going to get one, like his 2-base attack, if he does one, it's going to be really late now too. So what do you do? Just keep trying to get the third?
I think you have to just rely on your micro and go for the 2-base attack at this point. Like, it's getting to the point where there used to be a rule in PvZ back in like Wings of Liberty, which was if you wait too long, there's like you have to get your third, but somewhere between 8 minutes or potentially earlier if you were really greedy, and 10 minutes. And after 10 minutes, the Zerg's economy was just a little bit too good. At that point, you were pretty much committed to 2-basing, and I feel like it's not exactly the same times, but the same idea still stands.
This didn't go where I thought it was at all. I thought this was gonna be like, Wings of Liberty. There was only one rule: forge fast expand.
I know, right? Forge fast expand or die. Yeah,
That's
it is
true.
going to be that all in, it looks like, too. He's going to, I guess, kind of like fake it out here. And of course, you might want to get a third Nexus afterwards. You definitely want to kill this Overlord, but.
We do take it for granted, though. All jokes aside, the fact that you don't have to forge fast expand every game anymore.
Yeah, well, that's certainly a good rule. But I just want to I just had an all in, but the blink isn't done, the +2 isn't done. He's going to take a third, like for real. It's so late, yo. If Creep still has to recede, the Lings are still surprisingly scary.
Well, Huck knows best, I suppose. We'll have to see how well this works out. It was going to be a really difficult attack anyways, just because Jonsnow, he was going to have Hydros out, right? Like,
he was shit out of luck either way.
Yeah.
You do the all-in, it's so much later than you thought it was going to be. It's not going to work out. You take a third, it's later than you thought you were going to be, and your units aren't quite up there. Like, this concave, the Hydras, it's just all not good.
I guess I kind of like
Everything Jonsnow has is made to kill gateway units, is what it boils down to.
Yeah, good force fields and zealots can do wonders if Jonsnow was a little too cocky, though. If the zealots reach the Hydras, of course, they're not that bad.
But see, that's the problem, and this is where this comes in. You're going to force field the Hydras out at first, so you'll tear through the Zerglings, but that means you're still going to be fighting most likely in the range of those Hydras, and when the force fields are over, you're going to be left with like 5 zealots. So I mean,
yeah,
it's about buying time a lot at the same time, I guess. As weird as that is to say, but it's the case here for Huck. A couple cannons going to add a lot to this fight, actually.
Yeah, and he's going to have the Nexus cannon as well. It's actually.
If you could just buy like maybe a minute or two more, his robotics bay may be on the way. Like his robotics facility is done. Okay, there's the robotics bay. Yeah, so if he can just hold on a little bit longer, he might be in a decent position with a lot of Colossus coming out.
Yeah, these zealots are rather scary for the Lings. The Hydras, they haven't been forced out yet. The militia core does go down.
Well, the overcharge to that range is adding a lot. I kind of wish Huck would fall back a little bit further. I mean, he's going to win this fight, but he's...
No.
With a couple more weapons, I think he will, but he's got to fight within the cannons is the thing, right? Like, he's got to put an overcharge, but he spent all that fight with these cannons doing nothing. Now they're going to go down. There's no zealots to tank, and what should have been, I think, a better engagement might actually just end up being the end of the game.
Completely agree. He was out of the range of the photon overcharge for most of that, too. Like, only a couple of the Hydras being taxed by it. I thought... Yeah, it looks like Jonsnow's just gonna win. Yeah, half the supply Huck right now.
It's been messy from the get-go. The gas being late, the weird opener, GG. Jonsnow ties up the series 1-1.
I cannot believe he just like mind tricked Huck so much. It was like Jedi stuff right there.
Okay, but is this like David Blade or Chris Angel? I mean, mind trick? No. Okay.
No,
I think that's like the name of his series. Is it?
I don't know. I'm just street magicians, man.
Oh.
But okay, so that's a good confidence booster for Jonsnow. He showed they know how to control the game if he can get ahead, and that's kind of the big tentative word, right? Like if you're playing against a Protoss player who does all in, if getting in ahead are usually not in the same sentence, but
just like, what did Huck see? Is it really just all based off of assumption, or do we miss a probe scouting somewhere?
Well, I think he saw that, like, the hatchery, because his probe saw, before, like, it got killed off, was that there was no hatchery for, like, a really long time. And Jonsnow really did delay that hatchery. Like, there's, like, going for early gas, and then there's, like, going for early gas, delaying until you get the Zerglings out, and then going for the hatchery. So I think Huck saw that, and then after that, one of the problems that happens, like, when you play Protoss, you get into, like, this really, really scary mindset against Zerg players, where it's like, if you get any kind of early aggression coming at you, you feel like your vision is completely shut down. It's like the most paranoid thing, like, paranoia-inducing thing in the world, where you're stuck in your base, and you're like, are they droning right now?
Yeah,
or did they throw down a roach warren, and are they about, like, I feel like the cannon, they weren't there for Zerglings, I think they were there for, like, a roach all-in follow-up that he thought might be coming.
Maybe.
You know what? I'm so mad about cannons, by the way. I recently learned I've been saying the Planetary Fortress cannon name wrong for like a year.
Photon Overcharge?
No. Like the Planetary Fortress cannon is called the Ibic cannon. I always thought it was the ICB cannon. Like I get the B and the K like mixed up.
God.
I never cared, so that's funny.
Little lore buff.
I think ICB sounds cooler too. I'm just gonna throw that out there. Like an Ibic cannon, like
Yeah, I
sounds
agree with
so
you.
like a limp wrist. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Okay. Yeah. So, I can't get over the early, like the like, usually sometimes there's games where just like, okay, we talked about it, now it's just like waiting. But that opener, he must have expected something weird, like a roach like attack
I think
follow up.
that's like, I'm trying to figure out if like the map played into that at all, like it being merry-go-round, and Jonsnow said like, okay, well, because you think about it, like if Huck was on a map that had like an easier third to defend, even after that attack, he gets that third around, and then Jonsnow goes for an attack like on Deadwing. It doesn't work, right?
I have a viable thing that we're not considering, and it's probably the least likely of all the options. But there's also probably a small ego factor that gets factored in for Huck, where it's like, oh, this kid, he just lost so hard, he's probably gonna all-in me this next game.
Yeah, we didn't talk
Like,
about that.
Oh my god, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I've seen Huck do like, oh god, I try to remember who he was playing. He was playing a PvP versus someone, and
Two Gate.
yeah, the two actually.
Yeah, Desro. It was versus Desro.
Oh my god, yes, that was versus
Yeah.
Desro, like last Copa America. And he said in like the lobby chat beforehand, like, I'm gonna 2-gate you. And then he actually 2-gates Desro. It's like,
Actually, he asked if he should 2-gate, and I said yes.
oh yeah, that's true, that's true.
So you can blame me. But yeah, no. And the thing is that Desro didn't just take his word on it. He literally scouted it like 10 seconds into the game, like making. You know, it was like super early, and
Yeah.
Huck still won. So yeah, that definitely comes into a little bit. There is some.
Huck is a player that's not afraid to mind game. Like, but I guess he is the one that got mind game that last time.
For sure. For absolutely freaking sure.
Well, Davi, would you take us to the map intro, sir?
What did you just call me? Dobby?
Davi, yeah, you're the stream house elf.
Wow.
That's
I
racist.
don't actually like watch or follow Harry Potter at all. We'll see you guys in a little bit. Alright guys, we're spawning up here in the top right hand corner of the
No,
map.
stop. We're talking about this first.
No,
We'll talk about
it after.
Your showmanship needs work, Fear Dragon. We're talking about something cut it out of the VODs, all right? You knew it was from Harry Potter, yet you couldn't have just played along with it. You're like, oh, I don't know that reference from Harry Potter, but I know it's Harry Potter, so let's do these intros. Come on, man! Just work with it.
I should have said
Just
like,
go with the flow.
Oh god, I should have said something like, I don't really watch Sailor Moon or something. But guys, we're gonna spawning up here in the
would've
top
been
right hand corner, on top of the blue Zerg player representing Solaris Gaming and currently tied up 1-1. It is Jonsnow.
And
What's this reference?
the bottom left, as the red Protoss is EG's Huck.
What's the MLG reference? I don't get it.
I think that they've played before in the group stages. So I think he's saying
so yeah, his
extended
total
series,
score.
like Huck's saying like he should be up 2-0, so now it should, so with the series being 1-1 now, it should actually be 3-1. So he should be one game away from a win if it was extended series. No,
Okay,
actually,
that makes sense.
it'd be a best of 9 if it was extended series, wouldn't it?
No?
I don't know.
I don't think
Well,
that's
it's a best of 7 finals, and that's all that really matters.
This is
when
why
it
we
comes to
don't have
confusing
extended
comics.
series.
Yeah. I thought Jonsnow was
See,
gonna go for it for sure.
I never knew what extended series meant until someone brought up the MLG thing. Because when I say extended, I think like longer best ofs. So like when I say
Yeah,
an
like it's an
extended
adjective.
series,
You know,
It
like-
is, but
Yeah.
so basically what it means is that there's like if it was a best of 5, it becomes a best of 7. If it was a best of 7, it becomes a best of 9. But the score from the time that they previously played carries over. So if somebody won 2-0 before, then they would
Okay.
start the series 2-0. So it means that like you have to work a lot harder to come back for a game that was
Yeah.
maybe played in like the group stages or something.
We get that part, but it's like, you know, when you hear extended series, you don't think, oh, well, I guess the last score mattered, you know?
Mhm.
If you're gonna name it like that, it has to be named something like
Yeah, that's
I think
fair,
best
yeah.
of 3,
Carry-
becoming a best
carry
of
on
5 is an
series, I
extended.
guess.
Yeah.
Carry On, Wayward Sons.
Yeah, I see what you mean. 3 hatch before pool going down for Jonsnow.
Ew, so
Ah,
bold.
this is-
Well, he went for the very early drone scout, which I thought he was gonna proxy hatch for sure, but apparently it was just to see if the forge was gonna get thrown down.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Like, intuitively think like, oh, if he's got like for a gateway expand, he's gonna have gateway units out sooner. This third base is at risk. But realistically, this is actually a great response because the sooner you get this up, that's more larva, it's more queens, it's more everything
Well-
that you need to actually just get units out to fight against that
Here's-
4 gates.
Here's the one thing is that, like, I didn't really ever consider it, but yeah, you're absolutely right in most cases. Like, the Zealot Stock or Militia Core poke that might come, it might, like, kill a queen. That's the best it could do. Not a big deal. You still have 3 hatcheries, so, like, F you. But that 4 gate that Huck did in that first game seemed to hit at a timing right before the 3 hatch production actually did work out for him. So if Huck were to do
Yeah.
it again, maybe that's how he would respond to it. But that's, like, that requires a lot of scouting from Huck, too. And, like,
I think you're right though. Like this aggression, I think it might work out because he's been chrono boosting nonstop on those zealots. He's gonna have like 2 or 3 zealots over at that third. Like he could conceivably do some decent damage. The queens are only halfway done right now. There's no zerglings on the way.
yeah, I think Jonsnow was actually underestimating how much is coming out here. He didn't realize it was chrono boosted. He thought maybe the stalker was going to be the follow-up. Yeah, it's going to be three zealots, which, you know, you're only going to be on links. So no matter what, at least you're taking a really great trade.
Well, the probe was and is getting part of the action here.
That's actually really important because zealots normally, if they don't have +2 weapons, they'll 3-shot zerglings. But if you just attack once with the probe, you can actually 2-shot them. It's like a really small and subtle kind of micro thing, but it actually does help out quite a bit if you can manage it.
We have 2 gateways. Are we going to see a third? This isn't the 4 gate we saw in that first game. That was a lot quicker, but this could still be like a more regular 4 gate. No, it looks like it's only going to be 3 gateways.
Well, Huck's slightly supply blocked right now, but I guess it's not going to matter too much since he
Oh.
is just waiting on the
There we go,
gates.
4th one.
Fourth
Yeah.
game.
So it's gonna be 4 gates. Warp deck finishes up here relatively soon, but I mean, these first 3 zealots are already getting some pretty good damage in here. Even if it's just clearing out the zerglings, this makes room for the stalker to come in and execute the queens. So Militia
22?
Core's already got that 1/2.
Yeah. He's got to be careful with his
that
militia core,
is gonna
though.
die, I
Just
think.
attack with the queen by now. Oh, damn it. Should just attack with the queen. The other queen's coming out here to help, though. I love Jonsnow used his money to actually make another queen, in fact. Just get... No, he's not going to survive. It's going to survive. It's going to
Birchborn's on the way.
Yeah. So this is what's more important. So the Roachborn is on the way. So if Hawk was going to do anything with the 4 gate and the proxy pylon he put down, not sure it would do a whole lot, especially if Jonsnow got precautionary roaches. And in fact, he has an overload going right over the 3 gateways. Like,
Okay, here's a weird thought right now, is that Jon Snow's sending all of his units across the map. If Huck decides to go for a warp... Okay, no, he's sending his militia report back. I was gonna say, like,
Yeah.
if he decided to go for the warp in back on the other side of the map, he could be in a lot of trouble, but he should be able to warp in a couple, like, sentries or whatever and hold off any kind of aggression.
Hype for that stalker's health? Seriously? Anybody?
yeah, I saw like a Ling apparently was chasing it all the way and we didn't catch it.
Well,
Don't
actually,
HP.
he did warp in some zealots, and he is being a little bit aggressive with that third, but these zealots are gonna die. Like, they killed off a couple zerglings, but...
I love that Jon Snow's not over or underreacting either. He could have thought that 3 zealots could have been a precursor to a 7 gate and could have completely over dedicated and, you know, not drawn up at all. Or he could have, you know, made too many roaches right there. But yeah, he doesn't.
It goes back to German pretty quick. Yeah, and that's going to be key. For Zerg players, you know, hitting that stride, getting that 70 mark as soon as you can. That's where you really want to be in this game. But Yeah, layer on the way here as well for Jonsnow. Not faltering with this, but investing in the melee upgrades is what I do find the most curious.
We might be seeing him go into a Spire.
I'm thinking Mutalisk. Yeah, I think that would make a lot
Well,
of sense.
Level 2 weapon upgrades on Zerglings are so good at shooting through buildings. I mean, if you're going to run and try and snipe by a third, that's how you're going to get it done. But that'll come into effect a little bit later, of course.
Yeah. So he saw that third finally with that Overlord that died. Knows that he could probably get away with a fourth, and of course he can get away with droning as well, as 11 drones are on the way. I think that Roach speed is just precautionary. Like if Huck were to push out with, like, you know, for instance, +2 Blink Stalkers, he would have the option there, but that's not going to be the case. Takes a fourth.
Yeah.
I can count. Shut up.
You know, I'm kind of interested with what Huck is doing right now, because it's been a sort of a weird opening from Huck, because he was being aggressive with those 4 gateways, but he's gone for the Twilight Council. Doesn't show any signs of wanting to throw down like a robotic facility, which is kind of weird to do in this matchup.
It should be soon. It should be soon, right? Like, we
Yeah.
know, like, Todd plays a long time without a robo, and even if he gets one, it seems to only crank out observers. But it's like, I don't know, it's easier, I think, to play with a robo.
To me, I don't know. To me, this either says, like, I'm good because of the blink. I'm either going to be going for, like, an enormous push and really try to do, like, big damage right now, or I'm not going to be aggressive almost at all for a while, because if you let your Zerg opponent get too much creep spread going, and then you try and be aggressive without an observer, like, you're in a lot of trouble.
Well, he's going to do the very standard push out right here, which is, this isn't really dedicated. I mean, he doesn't have that many gateways. There's 6 gateways, but that's off of 3 bases, mind you. So 2 bases, definitely an all-in, but 3 bases, maybe like 9 or 10. But it is still scary, you know?
Yeah.
If they cross paths like this, if Jonsnow tries to get mutas out, Warpins deal with low counts of mutas, so it does get a little awkward right here. And in fact, Huck is going to go ahead and trade his third for a third, it looks like.
Yeah, I don't know how much of his choice. I mean, 2 cannons will kill a good chunk. If you pull the probes, maybe try and keep those alive. But, oh, good force fields here out of Jonsnow, or rather out of Huck. Does catch Jonsnow's drones. Fair amount of them go down.
Yeah. Jonsnow, you know, very importantly, is not trying to go into mutas. You could argue maybe if he got enough mutas at once, the base trade would go better for him. But I don't think he had enough of that bank, so he's going to try and get spine crawlers down. They're at the natural, though, and they decided to get taken down.
Oh, yeah, I think he needed to throw those down at the main or the fourth, but he's now throwing them up in the main. Does he actually have enough time? I guess all the tech is over here, and the Spire is going to get focus fired down. I think that's a smart decision from Huck. Okay, no.
Well, like Jonsnow was trying to go for spine crawlers, Huck's also going to go for cannons here. Force fields are holding the line really well. 3 cannons are a lot of DPS. I don't think Jonsnow breaks this. He didn't even finish that third.
No, but the problem is that he can't just go back and kill the third. That's not an even trade for him anymore.
Yeah, Huck can also recall still. Let's
Yeah.
not forget about this. He gets really scared.
That's what he does.
Bam.
No, he can't possibly recrawl, save natural, and move his third. That's just absolutely terrible.
That's just absolutely pro to us.
It's going to be the case, though. Like,
Great force fields, though. Seriously, just catch those roaches.
Oh,
Third,
yeah.
I'm surprised. I think like it's not even shields aren't even busted on it. Like you really didn't try and
no.
knock that down at all.
This is absolutely terrible. This is not Jonsnow's game at all. Half the workers right now, still with like a decent army supply, but I feel like it doesn't really matter. It's
Where are
just-
these 5 extra cannons coming in and why? Fear
He's
Dragon
afraid of
find this.
mutas. He doesn't remember that he clicked on the Spire.
Ain't
Or,
in the main. There you
Oh,
go.
yeah.
yeah.
I don't know, like, think about it. He's up against a 2-base Zerg player that just lost most of his army. The one
Well,
thing I
Well,
can
why
think
in
of
the
is,
main?
It's
like, Nidus Worm? I don't know.
it's 2 based in his eyes. Do remember there's that top left base.
Right. Well, no,
Well-
in his eyes, it should be 1 base, right? If he doesn't know
Yeah,
about
exactly.
the top left.
Yeah.
Because he's also killed off the lair, though. So that's what's also really interesting about it. Like, without the lair, there should be no theoretical units. Okay,
I
actually,
think he must have just not realized he took down the Spire.
I think actually it's probably more so that he thought he didn't know if the Mutos had already been made, right? 'Cause
Right,
there was
yeah,
an
or not.
opportunity for Huck for Jonsnow to make them.
Exactly. And he's like hiding them somewhere. That's,
Yeah.
So I guess better safe than sorry and all that. And Huck, I mean, certainly as long as he plays this game out calmly, he's gonna win. In fact, even if he was like really rash, he'd still win.
Yeah, it's a pretty good spot to be in. He's got level 3 weapon upgrades finishing up, which of course just accents just his lead, but it's the Templar Archives I'm looking at most. If there's a lot of Hydras or Lings, he can easily go into Storms. If it's just Lings or Roaches, he can go into Archons. I mean, this building finishing up opens up a lot of different overly anti-Zerg tactics, I guess. I'm trying to think how to describe that.
It is rather funny that Huck never went up to a robo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just unusual. A little bit. Like, even if you're not, even if you go for like Charger Archon, which you've actually seen Huck do, eventually you get a robo just in case if you want, because you want mobile detection eventually. Like, observers are pretty good.
Yeah, for like
have.
burrowed roaches. Actually, that'd be a really interesting thought.
Right?
Like,
I was like thinking like.
Jonsnow got like a bunch of burrowed roaches and got on top of like the sentries and stalkers.
There's no way
Maybe?
he could do enough damage before Huck did get a robo and observer though. He would have to like, that would be really quick.
Well, nice kind of positioning over here for Jonsnow. He should be able to force a recall, I want to say. Going after this third expansion.
I don't know. For Huck, it's you never really just recall blindly. The idea is you recall after dealing damage. So like kill the third again, then recall. But looks he's just gonna segment units off and then take that recall in. So Archon's coming back home. We got a small amount of Blink Stalkers going to the third of Jonsnow. Should be able to knock those down. Drones were pulled out of the third, and while this fight's going pretty well at home, what does Jonsnow have back at his home? But nothing at all. Nothing at all.
Nothing at all.
Nothing at all. Stupid, sexy stalkers.
The best type of stalker. They get weird.
Well, I don't know. If I had a sexy stalker, I don't think I'd have a problem with it being a stalker. You know, it's.
That's no, actually, I think it's a little different.
Yeah.
I don't have the same boundaries I think as most normal conventional human beings do. So I could snipe the base, but instead he's killing all the lanes, he's killing all the drones, and he'll snipe the base afterwards. GG, well played is called. Huck will now lead this series 2-1.
Yeah. You know, if Jonsnow was going for like Roach Hide or something like that, that push out from Huck, I feel just like, he recalls instantly almost. We've seen that actually. But the thing is that if they're going for Spire, if they're going for Swarm Host, you catch them at a pretty awkward time where it's like right before they have, any or many at all. And so that timing, I guess we could confidently call it now, was just really, really good for Huck.
Dang, we tried counting to 4 in Twitch chat. We got to 2. Good job, guys.
What?
Legit.
We tried counting to 4 in Twitch chat, but we got to 2.
Because I couldn't count.
269.
I get it. No. I'm gonna be right back. Jumped in the lobby.
All right.
I'm in.
All right. Well, it's now Huck leading once again, 2-1. That one game up on Jonsnow. So now I'm thinking, because the way that Jonsnow actually managed to win game number 2, it was kind of. It wasn't lucky. It was like a really good mind game and everything. Like Huck kind of crazily overreacted to what Jonsnow was doing. I'm really kind of worried, like, if that was just like a one-off thing. Like, that's going to be like the only game that Jonsnow is going to be able to win in this. I don't know.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it?
Nah, I feel pretty much similar. It's not a lot to be said at the moment. Jonsnow has to pick up his game, is what it boils down to.
I feel like he has to do something like really different, right? Like he has to find a way to set the pace of the game.
Well, yeah, there's that, but also spawn locations can play heavily into this too. Nimbus is a bit of a fickle B word because we're in the Copa America stream and not base rate TV. I don't know. Mistress kind of makes it sound like it's a nice thing, right? But the B word is more, I think, inclined to what I'm leaning towards on this one.
It was certainly an interesting map. Probably gonna be okay. So small 3 hatch before pool may work out on this map, maybe if you can knock down the rocks in time.
Well, I mean, again, this just comes down to spawn locations. Like, if you try and pull that off, and Huck's got this position where he's gonna just be happy to like make a gateway or Stargate rather, you're gonna have a bad time.
Yeah. Fair enough. Well, we'll see if
I'm just getting a tweet out about this.
Yeah, we'll see if he's willing to
2-1 in the favor of Lorenzo Chris over Soul Jonsnow on Copa America. Hashtag SC2 Copa America. Make sure you guys always do hashtag SC2 Copa America. And of course, let's tag Fear Dragon and Zombie Grub in the tweet, so everyone can just have a lazy, easy time.
Yeah.
Get your retweet on, people. Get that retweet game going. Open up that Twitters. Get that APM. Whatever. Hit that retweet button. But we are in the countdown. So Fear Dragon, to you.
All right. We're going to the map intros. We'll see you guys in a second. And of course, we're still in the loading screen. There we go. And we're going to be spawning up here in the top left-hand corner of the map on top of the Reds Protoss player, representing Team Evil Geniuses. It is EG's Huck.
Not it.
Okay then. In the bottom left, as the blue Zerg, it's Jonsnow. Yo. Unrelated to this game, but Crank laying down some conspiracy theories here.
Oh?
2 of the guys who were in the Axiom house won WCS EU and KR. So therefore, Axiom Heart should win WCSNA.
Who won WCS Korea?
Innovation. He was in the Axiom house for a long time.
Oh, right. Forgot about that, yeah.
Axiom thing.
Woo!
I was gonna say, like, wait a minute, yeah, I thought Innovation won, but that didn't make sense because I couldn't remember when he was in the house, but I
No,
believe
young Magic.
Actually, no. Counterpoint. Both Innovation and MMA were actually on Team Acer. Therefore, Acer Scarlet should win.
Well, Innovation's actually
No.
on SKT now when he won.
I know, but
so.
they both were on Acer.
Well, how about this? They're all Terran, so Heart should win.
How about this? There's like a lot of coincidences going on, and they may or may not actually
No,
be related
Rifkin,
to
I
each
had
other.
one.
Look.
I had one. It was 2-1. I was winning.
Statistics determine the future, okay? Hands down.
You know
Well,
what I
Whoa.
think determines the
speaking,
future?
you're both dumb,
The
but
Hellbat, all right? And
Whoa,
I believe in the
hold
power of the Hellbat. Yeah,
Really
so
quick
Forge.
second.
What Forge first on this map is really,
Hells,
really
yeah.
weird.
Yeah. He did send out, well, actually, he only sent out 1 probe. I mean, usually if you really want to do this, you send out 2 probes to make sure that you get there in a relatively good amount of time.
I feel like this is trying to just hard counter like a 3 hatch before pool because this is like a good map to do it on. But
Yeah. Jonsnow has been doing it, so it seems legit. But unfortunately, anything besides that, with how late the cannon rush would have been, would not have worked out. And in fact, Huck just throws down the Nexus.
Yeah, I think he realizes at this point, like, okay, you didn't have a hatchery your 3rd, and your natural is not finished up. This looks like you've thrown down a spawning pool instead. But Pylon gonna go down. We'll see if he actually commits to this.
I don't think you will, but there's this really dumb spot behind that mineral line where you can actually fully wall off with a second gateway. Huck's done it the other way around, though, so this is not the optimal spot to cannon should he have
You
actually
know-
dedicated to this.
You know what I think really sealed the deal on Huck not cannon rushing? That Overlord saw it.
Yeah.
Like, that must have been a real buzzkill, is that the Overlord got that 50-50 chance of getting there first. So.
I don't know. Sometimes when you're a Protoss player, you know that the Zerg player knows you've thrown up the pylon, and you're just like, I'm gonna do it anyways.
It's like when someone knows that you're doing something, you just stare them right in the face as you do it. You're like, yeah, I'm gonna break this face. Slam. Eye contact.
eye contact.
Man, every time we see anything that rhymes with slam, I start doing Space Jam in my head. It just cues
Welcome
up like a
to the jam.
jukebox.
I don't remember the song.
Slam jam,
get
thank you,
up,
man.
It's time to jam now.
Man, that was a good movie. That
That was
A good
glorious
movie. I mean, a bad movie.
no,
But
that was an amazing
What?
movie. Are you kidding me? Bill Murray was in it and everything. Like,
it's
come
actually
on.
not that great of a movie.
That was actually my childhood. That was the best movie of my childhood.
Dragon Ball Z was my childhood. I really need. Who else wants
Actually,
to just
yo.
go on a Dragon Ball Z marathon with me?
This is gonna be a
I'd
bit
be
of a
up for that.
stretch. I'm
Oh,
sure
yeah.
neither of you have seen it, but if anyone in the audience today has seen Bat Squatch, yo, that was the best. But small, I guess, Easter egg shot aside, Huck is proxying something down here.
Ooh, who? Okay, we can guess.
I mean,
gonna
I'm
guess
thinking
Star
Twilight.
Trek.
Yeah, well, it's gotta be a
Um,
Twilight Council.
I
The
think Fleet
Stargate
Beacon?
timing on this is too far
It's
off.
definitely a Fleet Beacon.
It's gonna be cool
Or
though,
Fleet
actually.
Beacon without a Stargate.
Without a Stargate.
No, I regardless of what it's gonna be, what I'm kind of curious about is this. It could, and this sounds so silly to say, just
It
oh,
is a
never mind.
Stargate.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, actually, Fair's gonna be the closest of all of us. It's a double Stargate.
Oh!
Oh!
Oh my god! I haven't seen this sort of style, like the double Stargate, like proxy double Stargate. I haven't seen this in years.
So
Like-
the only advantage to doing this here, though, opposed with his own base, is this does not get scouted. But there's a Ling looking around the corners of the map right now,
So you know
and
what's
it's
funny?
rallied all the way over.
Is it? Is it rallied to go
Or-
there? I don't think it
Or
is.
it was. It was. I don't know what just happened to it.
Oh, you jealous hockey to something. Anyways,
Ugh.
so like it's really cool that Huck is doing this though. Huck has been around forever, since 2010, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And not 2010, definitely 2011, right? So like he knows all these really old builds, like every single like part of StarCraft2, and well, Jonsnow's not exactly like like really new or old. It's kind of in the middle. It's funny to think about. I remember back when like the Kespa guys were coming into the scene, there were some situations where the casters would point out like maybe they don't know about this build because this was a build before their time.
Yeah. Okay. I'm now starting to wonder, like, Jonsnow is going to be able to actually get it, like, he should theoretically be able to scout almost every single inch of this base for Huck, but there's this one area that he's not scouting, and I'm wondering if Jonsnow will actually react to the fact that he hasn't seen anything.
He's got to be like looking like, okay, why don't I see anything? Why don't I see anything?
Yeah,
oh, there's dead space right there.
He's leaving that dead space though, unscouted.
Well, I mean, one of the things too is it's frustrating because oftentimes we'll talk about in StarCraft 2 the lack of information is sometimes all the information you need, but that's right, because of this dead space, it's actually not, and that's what's really frustrating. But what I'm loving about this is like, well, it's time we go, why am I happy about this?
Because you love Arthur.
Because I love freaking Arthur. Now, the thing is, the mothership core is really late, so I don't know if it'll have the energy to do the recall at the timing in which this hits, but to explain what's going to happen here, the goal of this attack, it's not really to go kill drones, it's certainly not to kill, like, tech, but you're going to snipe off a hatchery, or two in some cases, but Hydra's our good catch-all unit here. He doesn't know whether it's a gateway, whether it's a robo, whether it's the Stargates.
Jonsnow realizes that he doesn't know what's going on. This overseer is going to come back in here and hope to see what's going on, because that third... Yeah, a fast third isn't unheard of, but like without gateways, that's a little weird. And now he sees the void rays and it's like, what the flip?
Prismatic alignment gonna go off, and then hatchery's just gonna melt. Third base of Hux is canceled. Oh yeah, she goes for the queen first. Oops, oopsie poops.
Okay.
What's he doing?
Why did the void rays actually use their ability to like get extra damage versus armored units? But there's no armored units here. I feel like it would have been better off saving that for the actual hatchery. But some of the void rays are starting to go down over here.
This is bad. This
exactly.
is super bad.
This is why this is being executed poorly. The idea is you kill that hatchery before the Hydra spawn, then you back off this. But back at home, panicking to say the least. 5 cannons on the way. Force field can't hold.
I can't believe he scaled this much.
He could have run in, but he didn't. I feel like. Okay.
Well, I feel like we talk about how sometimes players who try and execute cheese that don't normally cheese fail pretty hard at it, but it's not like Huck's never done cheese before. It's certainly not like he's never done aggression, and I doubt this is his first time doing the double Stargate, so it's hard to overly criticize what he's doing, but I really don't like the way he opened that. Like, that should have been that third base down easy, but instead he chose to chase 2 queens. Like, why?
Yeah, I think that... Okay, here's the thing. I think Huck was making sort of a gamble, and it obviously didn't pay off. He was making a gamble that Jonsnow was not preparing with the Hydra's Den. Imagine if the Hydra's Den wasn't there, killing off the queens would have guaranteed not only that third, but also massive damage in the natural expansion. Yeah. So I think it was a gamble, and it didn't pay off.
No. You guys don't understand. Prismatically aligned Void Race times 4, it takes like 4 seconds to kill the hatchery. He could have done that and still chased the queens afterwards. That's what I'm overly getting critical about here.
Okay, that's absolutely true. I mean, I see both points, right? Like, he didn't know that Hydras are going to be out. And it's definitely true, like, there could have been so many more things that Jonsnow could be doing. He could have gone for roaches and a roach counterattack. He could have been doing what he did last game, which is go up to 4 bases and get a Spire. All of that doesn't really include Hydralisk. It was just the fact he was going for Ling Hydra specifically that made it such a good defense, like such a last-minute ditch, like, defense, too. It was, it just also felt like, it could have been so much better despite kind of, like, not exactly hard countered, but, like, being countered.
Oh, hold up. Is he still going to keep going with the air upgrades here, even though he lost the Stargates?
Like, mass Void Rays is not technically all that bad.
No, but he lost
the Stargates anymore.
Yeah. Exactly. If he's going to do it, he should remake the Stargates, and that should have been, as soon as these ones were obviously going to go down.
I suppose that, like, if you also consider how Jonsnow has been reacting to, like, Colossus and stuff, he's been getting out the Corruptors, you get some nice upgrades on the Voiders, could be very helpful, but hold that thought, the Hydros just actually target firing down the 3rd expansion, he just wants to get rid of it, and he's gonna be able to.
As at the expense of a lot of Hydralisk, and not a lot of his units went down. His Illusion Core went down. No, wait, no, it didn't. Lots of Zealots are gonna go down, but none of the...
Ooh, Warp Prism.
That could have been a lot. That could have been so much more help. I mean, Huck actually might want to remake that. If he can spare the minerals. Just for time.
I actually really like the way that Jonsnow's trading stuff out. Yeah, he's losing a lot of units to trade out, like, for the 3rd expansion and kill off the warpers and everything, but think about what he just did. The units that Huck has, they can't actually move out until they get a lot of reinforcing units. He needs, like, a lot of Zealots. He needs a lot of warp-ins. He needs... The Warp Prism was probably the only way they could really put on pressure.
Whoa! You know what? Jonsnow might be thinking that Hug is going nothing but Void Rays despite killing those Stargates. Not to say that what he's doing is going to be bad because there's just not that many units for Huck. It just, you know, Hydra Queen is really good against mass Void Rays. That's definitely for sure.
The
I
Queen's
wonder.
more so, but
Yeah, well, yeah, the Queen's more so, of course.
But
I just
we're
wonder how it's
seeing
going to do against a couple of Colossus too.
exactly. That's why I don't like this. The Nidus Worm, at least it gives them the retreat path, something you don't normally have. It's kind of like the Zerg recall we talked about in the past, and I would love to see this more and more used in gameplay. But we'll see, because everything here is going to melt pretty quick if they come out one at a time.
Oh, he's going to
Oh,
catch
wow.
it before it finishes. That's actually pretty important. In fact, Jonsnow, yeah, doesn't.
There's no sneaky shenanigans that too. For those who don't know, you actually can't cancel a Nidus Worm, which really sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, and that makes no sense too, because it's like, hey, buddy, how about you just stop burrowing? All right, just simmer down, go back in the ground. Like,
It's really excited. That's why it goes "Rawr" when it gets out.
you know, that's a good point. Thank you. I never considered that, but that's an excellent point, Simon
Well,
Grub.
Huck's gonna find the second Nidus Worm, but there's the Queens
Oh,
and
he
everything.
can
are
force
already
field out of the
Force
Nidus
fields,
Worm.
yeah,
He
the
force
force
fields out of the
fields really
Nidus.
good.
Oh.
Oh wait, Stalkers, no! Nobody does
Oh.
Stalkers.
He can't kill the
Transfuses on the
Nidus.
Nidus.
Yeah. He shouldn't have been targeting the Nidus, I feel. Could have just annihilated all the units that were outside of it and used those force fields
What
to
happens if
use
you-
it, but
What happens if you don't have a Nidus Worm?
you actually have the units go like full dumb mode when they start coming out. They won't stop coming out, but it's that thing where they're stuck in the force field so they can't attack.
Huh.
It's the same thing if you pylon block it in, but this defense here is looking pretty good. A lot of the Hydra's melting here already, but another Nidus Worm comes down. Feel a bit unnecessary, but you know, whatever. More Queens, more Lings, more cheap units coming out of this, but I mean, the Hydra's got wrecked here by the Colossus. I think that's what this boils down to. No matter what Jonsnow, like even if he kills the third,
Jonsnow.
he lost so much for this.
No, he should still win this though. I mean,
Jon Snow, I think he's gonna take out the third. Like, there's also not that many units left over for Huck. Yeah, there's the
But
Colossus
it's
and the Void Rays,
Queens.
but huh?
yeah,
This is
Queens
Queens.
can't catch up to Colossus and he does have to retreat. But I mean, he killed all the Void Rays, which are really something that,
That was
Hug
actually-
is depending
He
a
has
lot
a fourth
on.
behind this, right?
Yeah,
Like,
it's of course. So while that maybe should have been a kill move, like in a better handled situation or something, it's still a really good move. Like he's still probably gonna win this game. What I'm a little confused about is these Vipers. Actually, he didn't have a lot of gas. The fourth wasn't actually mining for a long time, so he doesn't have that much of an army anymore. So the Viper's gonna pull into a very small amount of units.
yeah, but I think it's still at the same time, like, the only way that I can see Huck really making a lot of damage to come back in this game is with the fact that he has all these Colossus. If you at least had the Vipers, you can pull, and heck, maybe you
Yeah.
could just throw down some Blinding Clouds. That would help out a lot. So I
Yeah.
think it's just, like, accounting for, okay, how can Huck still, like, kill me right now?
Yeah, and Jon Snow's not pushing out here, just with the Vipers. He's gonna wait until he's at max out. It looks like so. That's much better than
It's
the
not going to be
alternative.
very long either.
Yeah, it's not gonna take that much of a long time because he is finally joining from that fourth. He got the gases too, and yeah, he's maxing out like almost right now.
Well, I think one of the problems we see here is just really, as far as the unit counting station goes for Hawk, like there's 8 sentries and that's great. If those die, then so do the Colossus. Like regardless of polls,
Yeah.
regardless of whatever, because it's gonna be the force fields, it's gonna be the guardian shields. Like those are what's gonna keep his army good. But the worst thing
Oh.
is you get those sick force fields, you abduct the Colossus over
Oh,
it actually
yeah.
breaks them.
Jon Snow is like, he was at one point doubling the income of Huck right there. Just checking. 'Cause suddenly he's skyrocketed to 200 from having like 120 supply, and of course that makes
Yes.
sense with that force base.
It's a 69 drones.
Well, Huck is going to
67
be out of
actually.
position right
Damn
now.
it. That Ultros Cavern had to come into play.
And the Evo chamber.
Huck is going to be really far out of position to defend this third. I almost feel like maybe a base trade is his best bet, but at the same time,
No, you don't want a base trade versus this. Too many Hydras.
Good luck. Like good luck
If-
either way. Maybe. Actually.
It might be his only chance. I mean, that's
Yeah.
the thing, but it's still, I don't think, going to work out for him.
I don't know. Okay, so theoretically, if you can kill off like these bases fast enough, and obviously Jon Snow isn't able to just like get up a big bull.
Oh, he
Okay, no, he
recalls.
recalls. I don't know about this. Like, is it gonna work out that much better?
He
He's
might
gonna
be
lose.
hoping that he catches it so awkwardly he actually keeps a lot of his own army alive, you know? And he already did. He already took down like a third of the army without losing too much here, but still taking on a good chunk of the army. The pools are finally going down as well. A couple hallucinations at the last second almost made, really cool moves, but not cool enough.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
mortals in this either. that's gonna pretty much wrap it up for Huck. Because even if he holds up this attack, it's 1 base versus 4, and that's kind of the bottom line.
That was just kind of dumb. I think Huck might be saying it too. Just like, okay, I went for that, and I just got like, it didn't work. Like, what else can you really analyze there?
Well, it's tied up 2-2. I think that is worth talking about because Jonsnow, again, is not the player I would have favored coming into this series, but so far going toe-to-toe with Huck. That one thing with the Voiders I can't get over, only because it's my favorite move in the game, and I
You're
see it botched.
so critical over this, and you're just
I'm
like,
so
look,
salty because I
exactly.
really think that's what cost the game right there. That move, I really think, is what really cost Huck everything.
Okay, but then actually, let's follow it up on that question, like the what if game. All right, if he had killed
we should
the
recover.
third,
We should recover replay or resume command or whatever it's called. The
like after this.
yeah, you play the Zerg, I'll play Huck.
Dude. No, so if he had killed the third, but nothing else, he immediately had to leave because the Hydras popped out. Does he defend a third?
I think it's not a question of like leaving to go back home, but it's more like leaving and hitting the natural that's got that airspace around it that complements the Voiders even more if you weren't to dive to the main.
Well, it's kind of hard to go from the third to around to the natural when you're
not a Nimbus though, because you're really able to abuse the cliffs just going from base to base to base.
You're not watching my Skype? I totally described it. No, you go from your third just down here, and you have to get up to the natural without them noticing, and your rally.
It's not about not them noticing. It doesn't matter if they notice. You just don't want the Hydras to be in range. Like,
wait, can you actually kill that base though with the Hydras out of range?
No. But what I'm saying is, like, if they're chasing your Void Rays around the map, like if you take that sort of curve, whatever, like they're gonna be on the wrong side. They'll have to go back through the main, up to the natural, like you have that airspace.
But it's not only 12 Hydras. He was actually going.
The game, at this point, it's totally relevant.
We're playing the what if game. You can't just do that.
we'll play the recover game after. I don't know, but we're hopping into Foxtrot Labs, and I think we need to sell this map because this map, PVZ, Zombie Grub, you and I especially have seen some really stupid games for the poor Protoss on this map.
Yeah, well, this is the map where Jonsnow opens up the same way he did on Merry-Go-Round, and Huck is gonna just freak out because there's almost no good answer for it. Especially if he doesn't bother walling off the main ramp. I just feel like it's such a risky thing to do in like any situation. Even if you know the player is like the greediest effing Zerg player ever, you should still do it.
Like, okay, do you mean by the main ramp? Do you mean the ramp between the natural and the main?
The ramp that covers your main.
Okay, yeah. I wasn't sure if you were talking about, because I've seen like some players try and go for like the Wallmans at the natural expansion ramp.
No, not the most important ramp, the actual main.
Okay.
Ramp. Anyways, yeah, the gateway and the Cybernetics core and then the Zealot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
Well, spawn locations are going to factor more heavily into this map than most. It's funny. Tiolo actually put a tweet out earlier today, and I know not everyone's going to agree with this. I think it would be cool though to be able to control the spawn locations. So it's like, look,
I saw that.
You don't know like if it'll be like right now if it'll be top left, bottom right, or bottom left, top right. But if you can control that, how drastically different does the game become, right?
The video process would be weird.
Yeah.
It's like a bunch, like a big list of like different.
Oh god! Imagine like also bans and all that stuff. But hold that thought, guys. We're gonna go to the map intros. Alright, and we are going to be spawning down here in the bottom right-hand corner of the map on top of the Evil Geniuses Protoss player from Canada. It is Huck.
Before we introduce our other player, I'm going to address the chat. I don't care if you guys riot. You can riot all day. Fear Dragon's the one in control of the camera and the overlay.
They have been complaining about the fact that I made myself small, like the entire freaking day.
My complaint isn't that you made yourself tiny. It's that you keep hemming it up, and I keep noticing you like looking up to the right to the left, so it looks like you're looking like, oh, it's so good but so bad at the same time.
I'm really
Anyways.
proud of that.
So that's the story, guys. It's Fear Dragon. That's who he is. He runs Breaking Out for North America. and he's a nerd. There you go. But spawning in the top left corner of the map in this series, tied up now 2-2 in this best of 7 grand finals for season 3 of Copa America. I give you the Blue Zerg, Jonsnow.
Who is 10 pulling?
Mm-hmm.
No.
10 pool, best pool.
So, I mean, we talked a little bit about early lings on this map. These spawn locations certainly complement this. I kind of wish this was speed with it. I feel like a speedling all-in is a lot stronger than like just early all-ins on this with lings. But to explain, if you want to go to the natural base choke real quick, I mean, you're not going to be putting a wall up here anytime soon. No, not that one. There you go. A little further out. There you go. There you go. It's like Protoss or Zerg. Like, yeah, this is a fat wall. You get this is like Daedalus Point long, like the original Daedalus Point. So there's no quick forge one expand. Like, you can't deal with this well, and Huck is certainly not gonna have that defense going for a gateway expand, so he's gonna have to turtle up in his own base pretty hard.
When you said the main choke, you meant the most important choke, right?
Yeah, that's sorry. I should have clarified a bit better, I guess.
Okay,
I
well,
should read just from through this.
Huck sent out a really early probe scout after the gateway, which
He
is...
does. He should always on this map. Like,
Yeah.
oh my god.
He's gonna now be able to react. He's chrono boosting out a zealot immediately, and I think he's gonna try and go for the wall in.
Yeah, he is.
I-
You know, an emergency gateway.
I don't know. I almost feel like you're better off at this point walling. Okay, actually no, he gets out the zealot in time. Whoa. Okay.
Chrono
Okay,
boost
so
that baby
fine.
out.
The
You should
problem
be
is that
fine.
this isn't an automatic win. Like, this is good, and the second zealot's gonna be even better. But Johnston's gonna try and bait him away from this. Yeah, by attacking the cyber core, by attacking the gateway, by attacking anything other than what's stuck you in the wall, but not controlling his links to the best of his capabilities. The only way he breaks through this is if he controls his links absolutely perfectly. And it's not about baiting the zealot out of position, it's about baiting it so you can surround it.
Yeah. God, Huck is actually like such an aggressive Protoss player, because most Protoss players will be like, okay, now leave one zealot back at the ramp and make sure that I still have that wall in so the Zergans just don't be cheeky and run by. Huck like actually moves out with both of the zealots because he's like, I can get maximum damage on those Zerglings if I just attack with both of my zealots, and I'll bait him into moving in.
It's got a message on Skype, by the way, saying we're basically Attack on Titans. Zamagov and I are the Titans. The people, I guess. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, get the epic music in the background. But,
Sorry.
here's the follow-up though, right? Like Huck's going for all these zealots, so
Double
Johnston will
gateway.
never break through.
This is so funny. We don't see this at all in StarCraft2 unless it's a proxy,
Oh my
right?
God.
Double gateway zealots.
I
Yeah.
But he's like, I got it. I might as well use it. And what's funny, a little bit funny, is
Well,
that
that-
this is actually a kind of like this was a build, especially like
This is a build on what was it? The map that had backdoor rocks. People
Yeah, I know what
would
you're talking
Polar
about.
Night?
no, it was like the desert map, the one that everyone always complained about.
Akalon Waste?
No,
Desert
Akalon-
Oasis.
Desert Oasis, I think. It was the map that had
So-
backdoor rocks, and you would basically it was like a really old
Blistering
like, beta map.
Sands?
Huh?
Blistering Sands.
Blistering Sands, yes, it was Blistering Sands, and people would go for like the 2 gates, and then they would just make zealots while they expanded behind it. And
I did
they would
not know
eventually knock
that.
down the destructible rocks, but
I was gonna talk about Brood War because I'm a nerd.
oh,
No, it's actually kind of it was an opener, but he doesn't actually do anything with it so far. Just gets a lot of them.
Well, I mean, all jokes aside, in more recent reference, what you guys are reaching for here, this does remind me of some of the stuff we were seeing on Daedalus Point prior to the ramp fix, where you had to like 4-gate and 2-gate just to take your own natural base as a Protoss player. But does Johnston mean he's out of this? No, his drone count's all right. He didn't suffer too hard behind this. We've talked again and again about how 10 pools are one of those ones you can kind of play a little bit better off of, but definitely not in an advantageous spot than if had he gone, I don't know, 3rd hatch. Especially if he had gone 3 hatch before pool and had that gold, ooh, that would have been sexy.
yeah. I think it's important to also note like he's not out of it by any means, but he is actually lacking in certain ways, and I think one of those ways is the fact that Jonsnow he's gone up and getting these 2 gas geysers on a fairly low drone count, and now he's also getting a spine caller is really throwing me for a loop. I'm wondering if he's thinking about like a 2-base Spire play, and like he's gotten the 2
What?
gas geysers to get up a fast layer.
Oh, no, I think what happened is that he's figuring that a Spine is going to be more
effective.
Useful, because he's not gonna have roaches.
yeah, useful, I guess is the right
Right.
word, as
That's
opposed to getting
fair.
like early as possible roaches, because he knows an attack is coming. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was kind of like he could have also tried to get up to roaches fast enough, but they're expensive. They're the force fields could, I think, use them a little bit more. But anyways, Spine Collage is the plan, and you know what? He is going up till there, so you could still not be entirely wrong. He has 4 gases.
It's the only viable tech I can see at this point too, because he's gonna be relying on the fact that Huck's got all these zealots and sentries and not really stalker counts. So you're certainly not gonna see Phoenix as the quick all of this.
The real problem with the whole hallucination not being a research anymore is that stuff like this doesn't surprise your opponent anymore. Like, oh, spine crawlers, let me go see with my hallucinated Phoenix what's going on in the main.
It's the queen with all the energy that's getting focused down here, sadly.
I feel like Jonsnow should be fine on the defense, though. At least, like,
Yeah,
he killed
he's
off
gonna
all
hold.
the zealots.
Ooh, almost got off the
Spine's-
militia core too.
Oh, Militia Core doesn't have enough energy for a recall. I think one or two more sentries may die here.
Yeah, looks like one, and that's it. But you know, Huck saw the opener, the main of Jonsnow, and he's got to be figuring that Muta's going to be coming out in very low numbers, mind you, but Muta's nonetheless. And it's been a long time facing 2-base Muta versus a Protoss.
Yeah. Twilight Council coming out from Huck, and I think this is honestly just one of those ways that you kind of can respond. If you're up against like a 3-base Mutalisk player, Twilight Council, it's like a very temporary thing, and then you just get overwhelmed by a massive number of Mutalisks because Blink Stalkers versus Mutals only work for so long. But against a 2, and like normally you'd want to get a Stargate to get a Phoenix and all that stuff. That's like the response everybody knows. But if you're up against a 2-base Mutalisk player, they're really not gonna have that many. Like, it's actually not gonna be that big of a deal. You can actually just deal with it with Blink Stalkers.
Yeah, the only problem would be being blindsided by it. You know, kind of similar to the thing with versus Terran. It's almost the same idea. Like, okay, eventually they are going to deal with it because it's a low amount of mutas, and they still have to get their third and drone up still. But if they blindside you, that's 10 SCVs, and then they start poking at the supply depots, and you can't deal with it as effectively as you would like to.
Yeah. Really cute move over here from Jonsnow. He's actually hiding the spire with a bunch of overlords. So
It's like, how much of a surprise could this be? I guess the other option would be an invitation pit on 2 bases with spine crawlers defending it, but
yeah. I'm pretty sure Huck knows that what's coming, but
well, especially.
yeah, it's just kind of nice little maneuvers from Jonsnow. Like, I always like when Zerg players try and hide their tech with the overlords. It just makes it a little bit harder.
Yeah. 12 mutas is really nothing to scoff at. I mean, that's still pretty good.
That's
He's been
true.
up a lot of mid-ranks.
He's been mining gas like this entire time. Like, he was actually getting those 3rd and 4th gas geysers during the attack, which, you know, I think a lot of Zerg players would be like, no, I need every single, like, bit of minerals to get as many units up as possible.
Yeah. Certainly a bit of an odder PVZ than we're used to seeing, but I still feel like it's in a better position than if it was like, 4-base Muta blindsiding you for sure. Like 2-base blindside.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of sucks, but it's not even blindsiding Huck. It's he's got cannons.
Well, that and he's got the Stargate too, so Pump and Phoenix aren't going to be very difficult at all.
Yeah.
The question as far as dedication goes, when does that fleet beacon come down? When do we see like a second star come down? Does he worry about this being heavier than just the initial 10? But still waiting to get some damage done here. There's a lot of free pylons at the very least, like this one here, powering quite a bit actually.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was gonna tricked me.
Yeah, the other
Stalkers.
pylons. Psych!
Yeah.
He's looking for a way in there too. Not quite gonna squeeze in, but I mean, Huck, you talked about the cannons. He's got a pretty nice defense.
Yeah, now he's gonna get up to Phoenixes too. It's not like the mutas are really high enough in count where they can dive for the Stargate. If Huck is completely out of position, which I think he's really trying to make him do, because you notice he's constantly having his links on one side and his mutas on the other. Very good maneuver to do so. Maybe he could, but nowhere near the third now, or the main now rather. He's at the third. One muta dies for no reason.
So here's the thing that I feel like Jonsnow is doing. He's buying himself a lot of time. Like, Huck is not actually going to push out for a while because of this. So behind this, Jonsnow, he's getting up some upgrades. I feel like there may be a decent opportunity if he just keeps his Mutals alive and doesn't trade them out versus Stalkers to maybe get up Corruptors. Because I've seen a lot of Zerg players, like, they go for the Mutals Corruptor style in it. They can make it work against a lot of Phoenix.
For sure. And then it becomes like the question of eventually if they get infestors. So
Yeah.
get really good fungal for sure. But it is going into a normal game, just starting off way sooner, I guess, than we're used to. And we get the +1 on the way. These mutas are getting into a scary count, 20 in the way. These lanes coming in here, force fields.
Yeah, surprisingly, no force fields being thrown down in the sentries that were right next to the Zerglings, but nice bait out there from Huck, knowing that they weren't going to be committing to it. Phoenix on the Mutalisk. I guess that works.
And there's the Onion Pulse Crystal upgrade. For those who don't know, just to explain this real quick, Phoenix is innately outranged Mutalisks, and they can move and shoot, which makes them incredibly powerful with bonus damage versus light, which Mutalisks are. But that Onion Pulse Crystal upgrade adds so much extra range, the Mutalisks don't even stand a chance. 2 range might not seem like a lot in StarCraft 2, but it's a world of difference.
Yeah, without it, you almost always get 1 pot shot, with each time the Phoenixes shoot at you, just because they have to drag back, even though they're technically moving the entire time. So
yeah.
With this, that doesn't happen. There's just no way for the Mutas to actually get on top of the Phoenixes unless you mess up as the Phoenix player.
I really, really like how active this entire series Huck has been with like his scouting from Hallucinate Phoenix.
Oh, main base.
Needles coming in.
So he used to snipe off the cannon, but now the third under attack from those lings. So Huck's got to split his attention, but he's done it quite well. Oftentimes, whether it's TVP or ZVP, one of the worst reactions you can do is underreact, under-evaluate just how big of a threat can be. But I mean, all the things we described that are so wonderful about these Phoenixes against the Mutalisks are the exact same reasons they're horrible versus Corruptors.
Yeah, and Jonsnow was as soon as he saw the Phoenixes that were out there, and of course I think you could tell that the upgrade is also finished, Corruptors had to be on the way.
The sneaky base is pretty cute.
I really like it. I mean, you have an ultra mobile force. Your opponent doesn't have super mobile units besides the Phoenixes, but I mean, even if the Phoenixes see it, it's still hard for them to... They can't kill off the base, right? They can lift up drones, but they're not going to be able to kill it off. So even if Huck scouts it out, what is he going to do about it? Like, send a couple of Zealots over there? I think that's like the most he can really do.
Well, 4 bases is still going to be good regardless of this hidden 5th. The Corruptor Mutalist style is something that I've seen work in certain situations. For those who don't know why I'm getting high praise to this, Corruptors are like one of, like, I think 3, I could be wrong, like units of the game that have like base 2 armor. So they already cut the Phoenix damage down by pretty much half without those upgrades, but Huck has invested in those upgrades. So these will still work pretty well against the Corruptors for a time. There are some Zerg players who will go for the double spire very much intentionally for those Carapace upgrades, but as we see here, yeah, as long as you can touch the Phoenixes, they'll die. But touching them is the problem.
Yeah, it's the exact same game. It's like the Phoenixes are somewhere between the Mutalisks and the Corruptors, right? The Phoenixes are trying to chase down the Mutalisks. The Mutalisks are trying to run away from the Phoenix, but the Corruptors are trying to chase down the Phoenix, and the Phoenix are trying to run away with the Corruptors.
I think you're describing this incredibly backwards. It's the Corruptors are between everything else. They're the pivot point for the Mutalisks, as they'll be what zone out the Phoenixes.
Yeah, definitely.
But the Stalkers. Oh, the Stalkers pick up quite a few of these right away.
This is not
this dogfight going down.
He actually,
that's a little weird.
I was clip a lot of Phoenix though. A couple good
He
shots going
lost
off. But...
most of his Mutas.
Exactly. So I mean, is it worth it? No, not at all. But
not at all. Like absolutely not at all. 9 Mutas left over. How many did we lose? I have to do math because my stupid ES loss doesn't work. 28. Yeah. Anyways. So a lot of Mutas went down right there, and it was absolutely not worth it. And we were kind of like saying that, and maybe like Jonsnow. I really think Jonsnow should have realized that too. Once the force fields go down and protect the Stalkers, Lings are no longer worthwhile. They don't add that certain amount to that fight that you need to win it. So.
Okay, so Huck doesn't really have a bank like you would expect him to. But well, he takes this gold base, which is nice on all this. I'm really waiting to see just like a little more dedication to these Phoenix if his opponent's going to keep making these Mutalisks. Like the upgrades are cool. Seeing actual upgrades for air is so rare. But I mean, a 3rd Stargate is usually what we see because that transitions into the Tempest for later on, should that be the case. But sitting on 2 is not bad. I just would love to see 3.
He's also starting to mix in Archons, which means that these head-on engagements aren't going to work out nearly as much. And the Blinkstalkers are in front of the Zealots accidentally. Good force fields go down again. You should blink back though. Those Zealots are not getting in. Like Lings are reaching the Stalkers, supposed to be reaching the Zealots.
Poor Phoenix is trying to cut around what they can, but not a lot to cut around as the engagement just goes head on and Huck walks over everything on the ground.
Very surprising. His Zealots look like we're not in that fight, but yeah, takes that fight pretty well. He did lose a lot of his own Blink Stalkers, so they both kind of lost the counters to what they were both doing. It's 16 Mutas to 12 Stalkers.
Man, this is officially the most bases I've ever seen taken on Foxtrot Labs. So we've cast a lot of games on Foxtrot Labs.
A Banelane Dust? That's interesting.
Oh.
It's good for 2 and 3 Zealots, better than Zerglings are.
I mean, yeah, that's the problem right now, right? Is that he keeps losing on the ground. And if you think about it, like, the way that Huck is always playing out these engagements is, oh, there are the Mutalisks, the Corruptors, blink forward. What happens if you just blink straight into all the banelings? Like,
yeah, it's gonna require some, like, Hawk has to see this coming and then, like, have the Archons on the front, have the force fields ready. He does have force fields.
I feel very strongly for Jonsnow. What he needs to do right now is just get some ultras out, though. Look at this army of Hawk, right?
Yeah.
He got infestors. Why didn't he ever get Wait, he never actually got infestors, rather. He
got it for the hive, the infestation.
Yeah, the hive.
Exactly, yeah, he did. But I just feel like infestors would add a lot to this too. Like, imagine those surrounds with a couple of fungals.
You guys should have seen, I guess, the Zotac Cup 2 weekends ago, Slivko versus Hearthstone. Slivko just went fast infestors every game, and Fungal Grow shut down Blink Stalkers.
Oh god,
I mean,
Jonsnow
and it's Hearthstone.
Jonsnow just
It was
lost so much
awkward.
over there.
It was really awkward. Again, losing a lot of his mutas. And now I think Hawk feels a confident to go in here. He doesn't have the banelings ready, though.
But so here's the problem. Like, if he's tunnel vision, he's like, okay, I can get these banelings for his Zealots. That's a cool move and all, but between a couple well-placed Sentry force fields and these Archons, I mean, the Zealots might not even go down.
Oh no, he lost all his croppers. Don't take that fight.
Oh god. Another thing that we haven't even talked about is the fact that Huck has +3 weapons, and the reason why
the banelings! The banelings!
Oh!
Wow! They take out a good chunk of the Zealots, and the Zerglings can surround the Archons. Zerglings are surprisingly
No,
good,
don't
but-
the Archons!
He needs this for the Zealots. Archon lives with almost no health, but Spinecar will be able to finish off the last couple of them, and looks like Jonsnow's gonna barely hold on the ground. It really wasn't a bad investment. Could have gone a million times better.
I don't know about that right now, Rifkin.
But
the 4th expansion.
Right, but that's my butt coming up here, where it's like, even if you hold it the natural, it doesn't matter. You've got nothing left to fight with on the ground. You exhausted all your banelings. You threw away all your Circlings. The Mulists are gone. The army supply is like less than half that of Huck's.
Oh man, I think that may just have been it. Like, I'm trying to imagine, like, if those banelings would have made the difference in killing off the Zealots, but Huck gonna be taking the game and bring himself once again a game up over Jonsnow.
Ooh, all right, 3-2. This is gonna be the brink of defeat for Jonsnow if Huck can win one more. If Jonsnow can turn it around, certainly can still be his finals to take it all. But again, if you guys are just joining us, it's a best of 7 finals for the finals of season 3 of Copa America. So that 3-2 doesn't mean anything just yet.
That's right. Still plenty of action still left over, but Jonsnow, he's gonna be on the fence right now. Like, he has to win 2 games in a row against Huck. He's never been up in the series at any point. And I feel like the games he's won have been pretty weird games, right?
Well, back and forth and toe-to-toe stuff, yeah. I mean, I kind of, at the same time, you can almost argue the fault of Huck, but let's not forget, too, like, he went for the early pull on that map, and it didn't get a lot done, so...
That's true.
It's one of those situations where, again, you kind of set yourself up from the get-go. Yeah, you gamble. The 10 pull, maybe Huck doesn't get that well off, and you win the game, but that's the maybe, and that's the gamble.
Yeah, definitely. We'll have to see how it goes on this next map, because, I mean, with the best of 7, the fact that we're going to game number 6... There's only 2 maps left. There were not that many choices left over for the remaining maps, for the final maps. So these are the kind of, in my mind, these are like the reject maps that nobody really wants.
It's Catalina. Gosh darn it.
Oh, well, I
hey,
take back what I said. I take back what I said. It's not a reject map at all.
It's not on our channel. I don't have to play the intro. I'm okay with this, actually. So Catalina coming up next, guys.
Do you guys have any thoughts about Catalina in terms of, like, how it could work? Because I would say that because...
Fear Dragon, do you have any thoughts on Catalina? What are your thoughts on this map?
I feel like I really, really like aggressive, like, 3-base Roach Hydra play from a Zerg player, because if a Protoss player tries to take that 3rd expansion and you can get down to the low ground, you can actually really, really easily deny that 3rd expansion. Like, it is so unbelievably difficult for a Protoss player to try and move down their natural or their 3rd expansion ramp, if their army's over there, to defend the opposite location. Yeah.
I think that I have high hopes and my fingers are crossed for the Suvenitis from here. Again, ever since I saw Life do it, it's just made me a believer, but it's very unlikely that this actually happens in this series.
What was that build?
What, the Nidusworm build? You just go for a Nidusworm. Doesn't matter what's in it, you win. There you go.
All right.
He did it ZVZ, he did ZVP. I mean, on one hand, it's Life, so I guess you gotta give him that. But let's see what Jonsnow decides to pull off. this high-ranking Grandmaster player against Haku. Gosh, guys, he can't even be bothered to get GM. Like, way to go, Huck. Represent it. No, I'm just teasing. A lot of these guys have barcodes and whatnot, but more importantly, everyone plays on not the North American server nowadays. Which is a bit of a bummer.
Yeah, kind of lame. Hopefully things will come out that will change that in the future. I don't know. But yeah, let's go ahead.
Will certainly be interesting. That's what I assume you're talking about, anyways.
Oh yeah. That and I don't know. Maybe other people will start to do some stuff with the ladder. We've seen a couple of people. We've seen a couple of people use the ladder as like qualifiers.
So
and
hard.
stuff.
Yeah, but it's so hard to like, because those ones have been very high prize pools, and some people are willing to produce high prize pools.
Yeah, that's actually true.
Well, someone asked on Remix about all that stuff.
Yeah, someone asked that.
Yeah. I don't know. It sounded like a pretty smart question when they asked that on Remax.
Like a pretty smart guy.
Yeah, I mean, I would.
He's probably really handsome too, right?
Oh yeah. Heard he had a beautiful voice. He may have been a little bit of a midget. All right, guys, we're gonna be jumping in the next game on Catalina. We'll see you guys in a little bit. Alright, and we are going to be spawning down here in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, top of the blue Zuri player representing Solaris Gaming. Currently down one game. It is Jonsnow.
And there's a little bit more to this for Jonsnow as well, guys, as this is possibly the last match of the night, being the fact that this is a best of 7. Huck is 1 win away from victory, and speaking of which, on the left side of the map, it is going to be our Evil Geniuses player, Spawny Red, Spawny Protoss. It's Huck. But one thing we didn't really talk about on this map is this is a really good map for proxy Stargates. Like, even if you don't know where your opponent spawns, with the way the map's laid out, there's that nice in-between on both sides of the map. As long as Huck doesn't, as long as he goes like the middle part instead of like the top or the bottom, he's fine. But he's also not the guy. I mean, we saw proxy Stargates, yeah, but it's not his general go-to move. And again, you guys got to remember, we talked about this before we even got into the single game. I don't think we covered it in any of the VODs, so I'll bring it up again. Where Huck's builds are somewhat limited today. He doesn't want to reveal too much. There's no way winning Copa America outweighs the chance of beating Hyun in WCS America, which comes up in like, what, 5 days, 6 days, something like that, like next week. So it's really scary for Huck. Like, yeah, you're on the verge of winning, but you still can't reveal that one secret crazy build that you've been holding off because you want to use it on Hyun.
Yeah, I feel like also Huck is the kind of player that will have some like really nice. I feel like they're more likely to be like really big pressure plays or like all-ins, but I feel like he is the kind of player who would have some of those things prepared that he doesn't necessarily want to show off. Extractor going down for Jonsnow after the catch first and then going to spawning pool, so relatively greedy play from Jonsnow, but I mean with a gateway expansion out from Huck, not a whole lot you can do about it.
I wouldn't really call that greedy. Like 3 hash for a pool.
I mean,
that's greedy.
if there was like a forge first, like we saw in game number 1, and Huck decided to go for like cannons, going for the extractor before the spawning pool, I think like that can cause a lot of problems sometimes, right?
Do you guys think Creep has feelings?
No.
No, because they're creeps.
Well, that was the worst version of that laugh I've ever heard.
Creeps have feelings too. Just ask Rifkin.
Oh, okay. I'm not good at the laugh. The zombie grove made up for it.
Okay, I'm just gonna go back to Tinder on my phone. You guys gonna cast this game. Swipe right, left, right.
Okay. Look, all these chicks I got. It's crying. Oh yeah, the bot. Yeah, I saw her. The other bot, that bot too.
Oh
You're just looking up girl profiles.
What?
You don't know how Tinder works? Like, that's all you get to look up. Like, it just randomly gives you a bunch of girl profiles. I guess you guys couldn't see it until I just started doing it on my phone.
Yeah, nobody else could see that, so thank you for that.
Anyway.
Worst co-casters.
Forge coming down.
No, worst friends.
I don't know if he could.
That's a strong word, but Forge coming down from Huck And that does actually mean to me that he's less likely to go for any kind of big 4-gate aggression like he did in some of those previous games. But that does open up opportunities and avenues for maybe like Blink Stalker attacks.
+2 Blink Stalker. +2 Blink Stalker.
God, I love +2 Blink
it's-
Stalker. It's so strong.
It's so common. It's just one of
For
those
a
things where
reason,
like
though. For a reason.
No, but listen to me. This is what I'm getting at. Like, again, referencing the Zotac match I cast last weekend. Like, Slivko, it wasn't anything special. It went like 2 base Infester. Who does that except for someone who's anticipating Blink Stalkers?
That's weird.
And it shut Hearthstone down, like, so hardcore. It was just 2-0. It wasn't even close.
That's a weird time to single Evil Chamber
Hmm.
without a Roach Warren paired up with it. And very, pretty darn early, really. It was like it started at 5:30. I'm guessing a Carapace upgrade, almost like ZVZ, except with like a third
Yeah,
gear.
I was thinking like, +1 Carapace for ZVZ so you can absorb a Baneling hit with your Wait. I don't know.
That's good. It's melee. Melee. Actually, I don't know about the timings here, but it could be that this hits at a time where you try and swamp the third of the Protoss. So at that point, you're almost guaranteed to either like kill some sentries as they try and defend it, or kill the third. Not completely 100% on that though. I mean, like it's gonna finish at like what, 8? No, 9, 8:30, 9.
I mean, the +1 we've seen more commonly used to tear down buildings more than actual army value fights. So
Yeah.
for Jonsnow, this could just be in his mind, actually just to deny that third over and over again.
I didn't. Yeah, that's what I mentioned, and I mean, it's like. It's just like either or, like both would be good, right? The sentry trying to defend it, or actually the third. Question right now is, of course, is how going to go for it. It looks like it. I mean,
Question to me right now is Huck supply block like hard supply blocked?
a little bit. I mean, the
Yeah.
pylon's about halfway done.
Well, I guess he will be getting up that third expansion. He does have
Yeah.
a decent number of units over there to defend it, so I'm
Yeah.
kind of interested about this expansion location.
Yeah, this is the. I mean, it's going closer to your opponent, which is kind of like the age-old, like the Protoss should expand towards your opponent, but it's in the position where like you can have like a 3-point concave potentially, as opposed to the other third, which has a very visible ramp that you cut off. So I don't know, but I really don't know about pushing out like this. Of course, Huck has a militia core with it, so that's always the recall potential. But he's gonna recall into the natural, and thus leaves his third totally open. But Jonsnow. Oh, well, half of the army just bypasses it.
Does he actually need it right now? I feel like he can just rely on reinforcing warpings and go for a big counterattack at the third.
Yeah, well, that's what he's doing.
It looks like he agrees with me, or rather, I saw what he was doing and I agreed with him.
You're like, yeah, I predicted the scenario by watching what was going on. It was pretty crazy.
Well, okay, so the cancel goes on. I really think that he could have both forced a recall and canceled the third, though, because now it's kind of, okay.
Yeah, it's that awkward spaghetti. He left spaghetti all over
Alright.
the hatchery when he recalled.
Yeah, so he got both, okay? It was just a little messier maybe than it could have been.
Yeah, he only loses 2 drones. He loses a lot of Zerglings over there. Oh my god, 44 Zerglings for 5 Zealots.
He really wanted to cancel the third.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't like thirds.
Well, I think that's a pretty strong maneuver, because again, it's like that certain point where a Protoss player says, like, okay, I have to get a third up, or I have to 2-base all in. Like, one of these two things has got to happen at some point.
Yeah, well, I think the real question right now is for Huck. Like, obviously, he's going to be able to deal with the, well, maybe not. I was going to deal with the Lings now, but running out of force field on the top side does lose a couple of sentries. There we go. There's that last one. And, okay, saves all of them. I was going to say, the next question is, what is following the Ling? So the Ling power, I've lost my third. I had to recall. Now I'm going to have enough Lings to probably deal with just Lings. But what's following after this? Is it Roach Hydra? Is it a Spire? Is it Roach and Spire?
I don't know, Zombie Grub, but those predictions seem pretty accurate.
I know, right? One of the bad things about wasn't that funny. But one of the most terrible things about
I didn't realize this how like is a Roach Spire Roach. Like, which could it be?
Hey, I said Ling Roach.
I know.
Roach Spire. Anyways, is that Huck has not really had the time to do Hallucinated Phoenix. I think he saw the Roach Warren, but he has not seen the Spire. And of course, that's both from like being just constantly under attack and from having to save up his force field energy from being constantly attacked.
I feel like Jonsnow's maybe being overly aggressive right now. Because if you take a look, like, units lost, he's lost 77 Zerglings for, like, what? a sentry and 6 zealots.
Well,
He's-
right now,
Their base pressure on the south as well as the north, actually forcing off the north to actually deal with the southern force. I like this a lot. Canada does fall, but the next is the fleet, so actually, is there enough energy for an overcharge?
Yeah.
There is.
okay. They're on a force field though.
He's keeping his sentries alive though, so I don't know. I
That's
feel
kind
like
of the thing, right? Like, you can bleed zealots all day. It's the sentries that cost the 100 gas that you don't want to
At
replace.
this point, actually, I think that he was really trying to get both the sentries and definitely the stalkers too. So those are both the anti-air that Huck has, and Huck still doesn't know what the mute is. So
Is it
okay,
actually
transition
for-
to mutas.
Why I like the Void Ray. This is meant for the roaches, but this will still help a little bit versus the mutas.
A tiny bit.
I mean, the thing about Void Ray is, right, like, their DPS is good versus everything. It's just that
This
they're kind of
is-
vulnerable units.
Right. This is actually pretty bad for Huck. Huck's gonna be very surprised by seeing the mutas. He's getting 2 things that deal with roaches, and not too much to mutas. This could be bad. We'll have to see. There are 6 mutas. They're being stockpiled up to the bottom left. He could wait till they have like 16 and just really wreak havoc.
Well, he does have Blink, so he can move from the 3rd expansion to the main base relatively quickly, but the problem then comes in, as soon as you blink up to the main base, well, the Mutos now go to the natural expansion, and you've already used Blink. Dark Shrine going to be going up, but Mutos are going to be scouting that out relatively quickly.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. And the Immortal should probably be. It might be a possibility that roaches are still going to try and kill the 3rd. In fact, a huge army swamps the 3rd as I say it.
Oh, man. This is like a worst case scenario right now for Huck, where he doesn't have his units in place to defend the 3rd. His sentry's taking a lot of hits from the Zerglings as he was trying to deal with the Mutos harassment. The Mutos are still alive, and well, he's gonna end up losing this 3rd expansion.
Yeah, he loses the
Huck's-
3rd.
His army supply is just kind of in the gutter right now, but it's nothing like super devastating because his composition is still good. But
Like, he just
If he was
lost 20
able-
workers too, right?
Yeah, if he was able to save that 3rd, it wouldn't be so bad. Because you have to remember that Jonsnow really isn't on the most economical, position right now. He's still at 55 drones himself. He was dedicating a lot of army every time he did attack. But with that 3rd dead, with the probes dead too, he definitely made it worthwhile. Huck's gonna have to really depend on these Dark Templar, despite being scouted, still doing damage.
Yeah, and there's already a Spore Caller going down at the 3rd expansion. No Spore Caller at the natural or the main base, so still an opportunity for Huck to get some big damage done, especially if the entire army is going to be aggressive on the other side of the map. He just may not actually be prepared for it.
Awkward DT just runs across the map.
I mean, I guess it'll work. Like, there's still no Spore Callers going up. There's no Overseers out. Okay, there's one Overseer at the 3rd, where he already has a Spore Caller, though. Oh, no.
I'm not sure going for drones. Like, I don't know what would be better, trying to sack on the 4th or going for these drones.
I think it was
Yeah, I mean,
drones.
you're probably gonna get about 10 kills on the drones if not paying attention. But as the dogfight happens outside of Huck's main, part of why Jonsnow is a little bit late to the response with those Phoenixes.
I like going for the drones more right now, and I like the fact that he's been able to get some okay damage done. Just because.
Well, he still gets the 3rd too. Oh, the 4th
Oh.
rather. Ooh, hey.
Where's the
Did you just-
Overseer?
Oh my god, yeah, it's only transfuses. Why didn't you transfuse?
Oh my god, the Overseer was like at the bottom right-hand corner of the map.
And only one Overseer still? Like, why didn't you immediately morph in more? Oh my god, that was a big mistake. Like, an absolutely huge mistake. He should not have lost that 4th and the drones. It should have been, definitely either or. How many drones did he actually lose? He lost 14 along the course of this game. Most of them, I think, with the DTs. Can't remember anything that happened before that would have done it. Well, I guess the 2 on that first attack, so. Yeah, some good drone damage too.
I guess one of the things, I mean, Huck's got his level 3 weapons up now at least, so as the game kind of transitions outward, at least he's got that much going for him. But
Oh.
man, quality over quantity most of the time, but not today.
Yeah.
Not today. It's almost 3 times the army supply.
One of the best things that could have happened is that, Jonsnow starts, fudging with his mutas again, like that last game, losing some, like, just totally without reason. But he transitioned into Roach Hydra. Huck's still
God.
producing Phoenixes. You know how much those are gonna help? Almost 0.
They're basically just gonna die to the Hydras that are normally kind of funneled in the back and not actually attacking.
Yeah, I mean, Phoenixes versus, like, 6 Hydras, and only 6 Hydras, okay, fine, they
God.
might help out, but against this, not so much.
Well, I mean, he's basically just like freeing up army supply for more Roaches and Hydralists, right?
Yeah, and I think, did Huck see that army? Did he realize it's not just going to be mutas? I don't think he has yet.
I think he has, because he stopped producing the Phoenix now, right?
Okay, yeah, that's right. He just stopped producing Phoenix, and like, I guess the question right now is, what else could he produce besides Phoenix or just Gateway Army? I don't think he has a Robotics Bay. In fact, no, he does not. So he can't, like, it's not like he can go up to Colossus to help out here.
These Phoenix are doing actually like a decent amount of economic damage. They kill off a decent number of the workers.
Ooh, look at this surround being set up by Jonsnow.
At the same time, DT over the 4th expansion. And now we end up seeing the big army come in over here for Jonsnow. Will he be able to get the cancel off on this 3rd?
I mean, the army supplies are getting a lot more evened up. A lot of these lanes starting to go down, but 3rd dies, no cancel. And well, the DT is okay to get some swipes
4th,
off,
yeah.
sure.
The 4th expansion is going to go down for Jonsnow. Again, the Overseer's there, but there's no army there.
There's nothing besides Blink Stalkers against a Roach Hydra army, though. I mean, there's not even a force field to stop them from actually running up here.
This is really weird. I wonder now if Huck can just like snipe off the Overseers and he could maybe do something. Like,
Maybe,
at this point,
maybe.
I
Huck
mean,
is doing such good work for having no 3rd. I mean, it has technically been an appropriate amount of bases, though. Like, never has the 4th been mining for Jonsnow. It's been killed twice, so 3 bases to 2 is actually the number you're used to hearing about versus in a ZVP.
Jonsnow's even mining off of one of those gas guys at his 30. He only has 1 or 2 guys on gas on one of them.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, every single time he engages, he seems to be losing out on a lead that he had. He should just take a moment to breathe here, get the drones up, get the 4th, secure the 4th. Sport Crawler, Spine Crawler, please. And then attack.
These Phoenix are doing so much damage. Like,
oh my god, 30 workers? They've killed 17 workers, really?
Wow.
Oh my god.
Holy shit.
Good value out of those, to say the least. But
Seriously.
I mean, the thing is, I was gonna start talking consolation prize, like, you know, this is Huck's still got another life behind this. It can go to game 7, but he's actually starting to dogfight this really well from 2 bases. I kind of feel though it's getting to that point where it's timing out though. Like, okay, you've done great with what you had, but as your opponent comes up on high attack, if you don't have a 3rd, you're pretty much out of this game.
I mean,
yeah, he barely has a natural. He doesn't have a main anymore.
Yeah, like actual resources, actual income is not going to be in existence.
You know what
for
I
Huck
love
soon.
is that he finally took the other base. You know,
the one that people consider to be easier to defend.
yeah, like the surrounds would have like been so much harder to create for Jonsnow. I mean, he would have had you know to run so much farther across the map. It just, I'm not sure why he was so stubborn about this base to begin with. After you lose it the first time, probably don't try it anymore. The forces are much better here. It's just,
You know what?
I gotta. Maybe it was because
I'm gonna defend him a little bit because I think that it may be with what the units are out for Jon Snow right now. Before it was Mutilus, taking that 3rd expansion with Mutilus out is actually really annoying. But
exactly what I was
with
gonna
Roach
say.
Hydra,
But he just makes himself get another surround. Like, he wasn't in position to force it off well at all. And Blank +2 Blinkstalkers? +3 Blinkstalkers, actually.
Yeah.
But they're finally getting caught by the Hydras. There we go. Of course, with the run out.
yeah, 2-1 Hydral's gonna be enough in large enough numbers, and the Changeling's gonna be the only army left for Huck. GG gets called. Jon Snow taking game number 6.
I'll take this to the ace match. I gotta tell you, like, this was a series I came today fully prepared for the 4-1, fully prepared for the 4-2. Like, I did not see this going to the point where it was going to be 4-3 for either way, honestly. But man, Huck is doing some questionable things. He's doing some cool things today. It's like every second game, I don't know what to expect out of him. But if statistics keep up, as you pointed out, Jon Snow's never been able to pull ahead in this series. Maybe he does it finally in the ace match. But the fact that he's danced toe-to-toe with Huck all the way to the finals, regardless of whatever external limiting conditions Huck may be under, I say good freaking job.
Yeah, seriously. Especially for somebody who, again, like, I cannot tell you how painful it is where every single WCS, like, season, I will watch the qualifiers, I'll be, like, really intently keeping track of it, and I'll be like, Jon Snow, yeah, he's doing really well. And he'll make it to the final round, and he'll always just, like, lose in the final round. Like, for somebody like him to be able to make it to, like, a grand finals, like Copa America, and to be taking it so far to, like, the 7th game, it would mean, I'm telling you, it would actually mean, like, a lot for him, I think, to be able to win this final game.
I was gonna say, you come out, you watch all these qualifiers, and you dump all your partoofs blindly into whoever's been participating and breaking out. Like, you don't even, there's like no actual, like, oh, I think he's got a good chance. You're just like, oh, he's a breaking out. All in, all in, all in.
Innovation
all in.
versus Arium! Arium!
Oh, man.
All right. Well, Game number 7. There's only one map left. And it's King Sejong Station, right? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yo, by the way, Zombie, we finally managed to squeeze half an hour time to watch Avatar.
Oh, good for you. man.
Oh, so good.
Man, like, I didn't know what you were talking about when you're like, well, of course it's the villain. They made her, like, important at the last minute. I didn't realize it was the chick that they gave a name to in the last episode,
Yeah.
like, the last season.
Hells yeah. She got all evil and shit.
Mm.
Hi, kitten. It's a kitten. Oh, look at his tail. Stop, woman.
All right. I kind of want to ask you guys, because I play Protoss, and I play on King Sejong Station, and my win rate here versus Zerg is atrocious. I really...
I'm shocked this actually went to the last map. This is like one of those maps you see, like, it's always Overgrowth into King Sejong or vice versa, into the rest of the maps in the map pool. Like, the fact that this went to map 7 alone is kind of crazy to me.
Yeah, so how do you feel like this map is going to play into things, then?
Well, I know how I feel. How do you feel, Fear Dragon? What's your thoughts on this map?
So like I said, I play on this map, and my win rate here is atrocious. I don't know if I'm just terrible. I do know that I'm terrible, but I don't know if it's also just like a Protoss thing, or if it's more just a me thing. Because it's one of my big problems here is that both Swarm Hosts and Mutalisks are actually an enormous pain to deal with on this map. So what do you think?
Well, I know what I think, but what do you think on this map, Zombie Crow?
I don't know. What do you think, Rifkin?
Well, I think that I'd love to hear your thoughts on this one, Zombie Crow. Toss it back to
Oh
you
my
there,
God.
Jessica.
Well, I'd really love to hear
You
about
guys are
the
being
cheese
like
strategies.
you guys are being like the vultures from the Jungle Book, or like the birds from Jungle Book.
I'm
beginning, I
the
was
king
like,
of this swingers
What do you want to
The
do?
jungle
I don't know. What do you
VIP.
want to do?
I know the
I've reached the
SpongeBob
top
version
and
where it's like,
gotta
well, what do
stop.
you want to do today? I don't know. What do you want to do today?
Oh my
And that's
God.
what's bothering me.
Actually, I guess, I mean, I play Protoss a little bit. I can't check my stats, though, because this isn't the profile that I use, but...
I think this is a map where we talk about map control a lot, and I think it's definitely going to factor into this game, but this is also a map that can lead to cheese. I gotta tell you though, guys, I mean, ace match, I'm not seeing the proxy 2 gates. I'm not seeing the 10 pool.
Cross your fingers.
Really, out of Huck, I almost feel like that's a possibility.
No.
All right. Well, we're gonna find out exactly what's up as we go into the map intros. We'll see you guys in a second. And we're gonna be starting up here in the top left-hand corner of the map. Top of the blue Zerg player. He's tied it up. He's made it to the ace match. It is from Solaris Gaming, Jonsnow.
Is it Solaris or Solaris?
I call it Solaris, and the
I think
owner,
Solaris.
The owner
Like
of
Polaris?
the owner of Solaris has not yelled at me, so I'm just going with Solaris.
What about What about Solaris?
Solaris.
Solaris. Yeah, okay. In the bottom right, as the red Protoss, it's Evil Genius's Huck. You pronounce Genesis, or?
Evil Genesis. Oh, that's actually kind of
like,
cool.
The logo
That's
is
way
like a
cooler.
Sega Genesis that's evil.
Oh man. Oh, this is and like instead of like the circle like thing, it's like the Sonic ball spinning up, like
Oh
instead of
my
the
God.
EG circle.
Yeah, we're funny.
That would be
Well, more like we were alive in the 90s is more like what it's like. But, okay, so we talked about no cheese so far, so good. When Huck, again, this is one of the maps, like this is a good map for plus 3 Blink Stalkers on. I was made a believer watching JYP play on this map, get some of the craziest holes and the best defenses of his life, but so much of this is going to come down to timings, I feel. Who decides, I mean, it's not even who. Jonsnow is going to be on the defensive, Huck's going to be aggressive, but the where, the when, and the how is the most important.
I feel like we've at least mentioned +2 Blink Stalkers in every single game. I feel like we've talked about it at least every single game.
Well, I'm kind of getting the feeling that Huck is rather actually trying to prefer to play the mid game, or
Yeah.
mid game. So I never really liked 2 base playing Stalker, honestly, although I was like totally riding that train with you.
Mhm.
I've always preferred the 3-base one. I think that the 2-base one still relies a lot on not being scouted, so I don't like builds like that. The 3-base one is just like, it's just really strong in the hands of like good players, even if it is
Yeah.
technically scouted, so.
That's fair. Jonsnow, he's doing the thing where he's trying to just stop the probe from actually building cannons.
I didn't notice that Huck actually got a forge in his main base too. Like Huck's gonna
Yeah.
dedicate to this. I don't know if it's like, okay, he's not. Never mind. Why get it at the main? I don't know.
Well,
I guess to hide it so it wouldn't get scattered.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then he doesn't use it. It's just like you got the gateway and then the forge, and you didn't scout in between that time to cancel the forge. I mean, he's still gonna use it for sure, but it's just like, I guess it's just awkward, right?
I
Huck
feel
was
like-
like one thing, and
I feel like it must have been like a reactive thing. Like he saw the hatch first, and he was like, "I have an opportunity."
yeah, he's got to use it though. I feel like
Yeah.
oh, I feel to forge. Like I got a forge. No, I'm not gonna use it.
Well, I mean, you consider like if the drones are already like really well spread out for Jonsnow. I think that he basically was cutting his losses
Yeah.
there. He's like, okay, I'm gonna
Exactly.
be further behind, but I'm not gonna be as